Part 32. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 315. Chapter 309, The Way of Creation. After collecting Chiao Shaoxin's red heart fruit tree, Su Junming spread his left palm, and a green gourd emerged from it. When your 2 senior brothers became enlightened, my master gave them green gourds as spiritual storage devices. Now that you have advanced to the innate level, Master will also give you one. After saying that, the green gourd slowly flew to Chiao Shaoxin with aura of spiritual light. Although the little girl has only been practicing Taoism for a short time, she is naturally intelligent and has already known the wonderful uses of spiritual weapons. Master, is this really for me? Su Junming smiled and nodded. Take it. Thank you, Master. Chiao Shaoxin took the green gourd with both hands and played with it for a moment, with a surprised smile on his face. Looking at his third disciple, Su Junming urged Yigua, with countless eclipses and civilizations in his eyes, and he soon understood. The reason why he was able to cultivate and unblock himself again was indeed related to Chiao Shaoxin. It was her progress in cultivation that allowed heaven to lose some of its constraints. Could Shaoxin be the son of luck in this world? Otherwise, how could he have such great merits? Su Junming could not confirm his guess. Although his Yigua had achieved some success, he still could not clearly see Chiao Shaoxin's past and future. However, even though he understood that improving Chiao Shaoxin's cultivation would help unlock his strength, Su Junming had no intention of overthrowing it. As his personal disciple, he didn't want Chiao Shaoxin to become a brave and ruthless person who only valued magic power and not Taoism in the future. When teachers teach disciples, Taoism comes second, and the most important thing is principles and beliefs. After the thought fell, Su Junming patted Chiao Shaoxin's little head. Follow me. Chiao Shaoxin quickly followed Su Junming into the main room. The bluebird's body flashed with light, turned into a foot-long piece, and landed on Chiao Shaoxin's shoulder. Maybe they really hit it off. When the little bluebird saw Chiao Shaoxin, he always followed her. Just like he gave the golden lion to Qin Zhong and the black water snake to Lin Zhenying, he also gave the little bluebird to Chiao Shaoxin. Sit down. The little girl nodded and sat down on the futon in the quiet room. Su Junming sat opposite her, his heart moved. Qingyuan flew out above his head, and hundreds of magic talismans flashed with colorful auras, which instantly expanded and enveloped Chiao Shaoxin. Shao Xian, sense these talismans and find the one that suits your needs the most. Yes, Master. After responding obediently, Chiao Shaoxin closed his eyes, and soon his mind became clear and he entered a state of concentration. Su Junming secretly praised it in his heart. In terms of talent for cultivation alone, Chiao Shaoxin was the only one he had ever seen in his life. After observing silently, Su Junming closed his eyes. Having been exposed to Chinese education concepts in the 21st century, he clearly wants to cultivate talents. The core concept is to teach students in accordance with their aptitude. So when he first taught Lin Zhenying, he only taught him the yin and yang Tao that he was most interested in. The same goes for teaching Chiao Shaoxin now. And not everyone is like him, who has a bronze mirror, a supreme treasure that can enhance understanding. It is extremely difficult to be able to specialize in one avenue and achieve it to the extreme. As for whether Chiao Shaoxin can choose the avenue that interests her, Su Junming is not worried. Although the number of hundreds of talismans is still far from 3,000, it is already close to 1/3 of the number. After searching all over the heavens and countless worlds, I am afraid that no one knows more about the Dao than him. Seeing Chiao Shaoxin meditating quietly, Su Junming closed his eyes. His magic power was blocked, and there was no point in practicing it. Therefore, during this period of time, he had been thinking about how to practice the natal magic weapon of his Tiangong Dao. Now we have a clue. Time passed little by little. Suddenly, a milky white aura bloomed between Jiao Shaoxin's eyebrows. At the same time, among Su Junming's hundreds of talismans, a milky white, lotus-shaped talisman shined brightly. The white light between Jiao Shaoxin's brows complements each other. At the same time, the tattoo that had been on the left side of Jiao Shaoxin's face, the size of an adult's fist, began to tremble like a living thing. A lotus-shaped shadow emerged, and a thrilling aura filled the air. Su Junming frowned slightly when he saw this. With a finger, a spiritual light turned into the word Feng and fell down. The lotus-shaped shadow and the tattoo on the left face were slowly suppressed, and calm was restored. This tattoo is a rich innate spiritual energy, and the lotus-shaped shadow is a powerful spiritual treasure. Both of these things were too overbearing for Jiao Shaoxin, who had just advanced to the innate level. Now is not the time for you to be born. Looking at the talisman in mid-air that echoed Jiao Shaoxin's, Su Junming secretly said, "Sure enough. The path that my disciple is most destined to have is the path of creation." With a thought in his heart, the talismans in the sky turned into Qingyun again, disappeared into Su Junming's top door and disappeared. Jiao Shaoxin's eyelids trembled slightly and he slowly opened his eyes. "Master, look." Jiao Shaoxin opened her palms, and a white talisman of creation emerged from her palms. Talisman seeds. Su Junming was secretly shocked. In just a moment, Jiao Shaoxin understood the talisman seeds of the Tao of creation. This shows how closely she fits in with the Tao of creation. Of course, the understanding is also particularly amazing. Shao Xian, you did a good job. After receiving the compliment, Jiao Shaoxin's face instantly showed a smile. In the future, in addition to practicing the Yuan Yang Dao Jing I taught you, you will also learn more about this talisman. If you don't understand anything, just come and ask me. Yes, Master. The Yuan Yang Taoist scripture is a Qi training method that Su Junming understood by combining Mishan King Da Dong Sutra, King Mu Shangyu and Gong, Baiming Sutra, and many Qi training methods with the help of bronze mirrors. Although it is only in the nascent soul realm so far, its level of sophistication is still higher than that of many methods. The reason why Jiao Shaoxin was asked to practice his own method instead of the Shangqing Daidong Sutra was because there was no mission in this world. He couldn't let Jiao Shaoxin join mission's family. The mission sect's rules are, non-mission disciples are not allowed to privately teach mission's directly inherited martial arts, otherwise their cultivation will be revoked and they will be expelled from the mission sect. As a disciple of mission, although he is no longer in the world of Uncle Ju, Su Junming does not want to break the sect rules. Moreover, the Shangqing Great Cave Manual only has techniques for the Yuan-Shen realm, and there are no more techniques for higher levels. In the future, when Su Junming becomes an immortal through cultivation and cannot find the mission sect in the immortal world, he will have to look for another method. In this case, it is better to comprehend a new set of Dharma methods early to avoid being blocked in the future. Go down and rest. Jiao Shaoxin stood up, with a look of hesitation on his face. Anything else? Master, I want to see my sister. Su Junming nodded. You don't need my permission to go back to Cerni in the future. However, you have to understand that not everyone is qualified to practice. Without qualifications and understanding, if you force yourself into Taoism, you will end up wasting your life, and you may even risk falling into a catastrophe in the future. Compared with this, it is better to enjoy the glory and wealth in the world. Although it only lasts 100 years, it is still stable. Do you understand? Jiao Shaoxin's face became solemn and she said respectfully. Disciple understands. Go ahead. Su Junming waved his sleeves. After the little girl nodded, she turned around and walked out with the blue bird. Looking at her back, Su Junming shook his head slightly. Although Jiao Erni is from the same mother as her dantian is narrow and she has no qualifications for cultivation. As for understanding, according to his observation, it is only average. Taken together, he is just an ordinary person. If she wants to succeed in her cultivation, she must have Qin Zhong's extraordinary and powerful perseverance. However, after so many years, he has only seen one Qin Zhong. It seems that the Tao of creation must be incorporated into the 12 fundamental Taoist methods to understand. Since alchemy, weapon refining and formation were combined into the Tiangong Dao, 2 of the 12 fundamental Dao methods have become vacant. Adding a creation path is just right. Although Qiajia village is not considered remote, there are usually a few outsiders coming here. However, since half a month ago, there have been occasional visits by outsiders who, although dressed in ordinary clothes, are obviously not from the village. Seeing as they didn't cause any trouble, no one took care of them. On this day, on the road leading to Qiajiakan, a middle-aged man wearing a moon-white gown, tall and thin, who looked like a hawk looking at a wolf, came. There was an indescribable aura about this person that made people afraid to look directly at him. He glanced at the stone tablet next to him. "This is Qiajia village. I would like to see who you are." After muttering to himself, the middle-aged man walked into the village. The dress and temperament that were obviously different from ordinary villagers instantly attracted the attention of the people in Qiajia village. The middle-aged man didn't take it seriously. After glancing at the old man standing under a poplar tree not far away, he walked towards the center of the village. The old man in beggar's clothes had cold sweat on his forehead. The coercion in the other party's eyes made him have the urge to turn around and run away immediately. This person's cultivation level is surprisingly high. He is definitely not just a golden elixir. Thinking of this, my heart was shocked, and my eyes were filled with shock. Is it the serious king who is here? My heart was pounding, and I wanted to follow him to see what happened, but thinking of the strong pressure in his eyes and the numerous warnings, I didn't dare to take a step forward. He could not predict the tyranny of Yuanying realm monks. It's a pity. Although Su Junming, the real person from Chongshan, has a more upright temperament, he is still a righteous knight with a warm heart. The old man shook his head. He didn't think that a golden elixir monk could survive from the hands of a strong nascent soul. The middle-aged man continued to move forward and soon arrived at the center of the village. The sound of Lang Lang's reading came. When humans are born, their natures are good. Their natures are similar, but their habits are far apart. Through the open window, you can see more than 30 village children, large and small, reading the 3-character classic in a straight and clear voice. A tall young man wearing a green robe, holding a pointer, patrolled back and forth in the aisle between the desks. When he saw the naughty village boy, he frowned angrily. All the little guys were silent for a moment and read obediently. After reading a 3-character sutra, the young man in green robe walked to the center of the podium. Everyone has read well. When you go back, copy the 3-character sutra and bring it to school tomorrow. I want to check it. Have you memorized everything? Remember. Get out of class is over. Oh, get out of class is over. The little guys who were sitting upright just now seemed to be in a panic. They packed up their desks and rushed outside in a swarm. The teacher room, which was bustling just now, soon became quiet. Become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 316. Chapter 310 Serious King. Su Junming tidied his desk and looked at the middle-aged man in white robes standing outside the door. The Wolf King is coming from afar. What can I teach you? You know me. I don't know. But I can't think of anyone else besides the Lord of Daheng Mountain, Serious King, who is interested in nascent soul realm monks right now. Looking at Su Junming, who was calm and composed, the Serious King said with great interest. Aren't you afraid that I will kill you? If I'm afraid, why should I ask for trouble and kill those sycophants and the yellow-haired fox in Zhou Mansion? Su Junming said calmly. The Serious King's eyes were bright, and his sharp eyes were like two cold lightnings, full of domineering and majestic power. Su Junming looked at him with calm eyes, but did not flinch in the slightest. It's not like I'm pretending to be so calm, the serious king thought to himself. The majesty accumulated over hundreds of years of leading the Daheng Mountain Demon Clan, coupled with the tyrannical strength of the nascent soul stage demon cultivators, unless there is someone with equal or superior strength, no one can look directly at it. Don't you want me to come in and sit down? Please. Su Junming turned sideways. The two of them came to the courtyard one after the other. Su Junming stretched out his hand and pointed, and the soil flowed upward like a fountain, turning into a stone table and two stone benches in the blink of an eye. With a wave of his sleeves, a black teapot and two teacups flew onto the stone table. Pick up the lid and put in the tea leaves. Snap your fingers, gurgling water condenses from the air and flows into the teapot. With a wave of his left hand, a fiery snake circled around the teapot. But in an instant, the heat steamed up, and a strong aroma of tea wafted out. Gilug. Su Junming picked up the teapot and poured 2 cups. Please. The serious king picked up the teacup and smelled it at the tip of his nose. This tea is a spiritual seed. He raised his eyes and looked to the opposite side. Mr. Su is so rich that he is willing to use this kind of spiritual tea to entertain guests. And I'm the uninvited guest. Su Junming smiled calmly. Since the Wolf King is willing to come to Kiajia village in person, as a landlord, I naturally want to show my kindness as a landlord. Although spiritual tea is precious, he has cultivated a lot of it over the years by utilizing the abundant spiritual energy in Daihuang Mountain. It doesn't hurt to take it out and drink some. And he also has a Dongsuan level spiritual tea in his hand. It was obtained by chance after killing an evil cultivator of the golden elixir in Uncle Ju's world. This is the real treasure. That's very generous of you, but just a cup of tea won't make me let go of your hatred of killing my in-laws. After saying that, he picked up the teacup, put it to his mouth and took a sip. If the Wolf King gives up, it will make me look down on him. Solid Su Junming. It seems that you are very confident that you can defeat me. Isn't that right? You will find out after the fight. Seeing that he didn't look like he was bluffing, the serious king nodded. If you can block my king's 100 moves, the matter in Zhou Mansion will be forgotten. Su Junming smiled lightly. Just follow the words of the Wolf King. The two of them each picked up their teacups, touched them twice, and drank them all in one gulp. Please. Please. After everyone finished speaking, there was no gesture, and the body floated into the air, straight up to 100 feet. In mid-air, the strong wind roared, and the two men hunted in their robes. The setting sun in the west shone on the two of them, adding a bit of a tragic atmosphere. Wolf King, I will not be merciful. Ha, neither can I. Ouch. Accompanied by the earth-shattering howl of a wolf, a phantom with a 100-foot-tall wolf head appeared in the sky. The wolf's mouth opened, and a howling storm rolled up the wind and clouds, pressing directly towards Su Junming. The overwhelming hurricane spread across the sky with overwhelming momentum. Su Junming stared. A pinch of fingers. The god of Hu Tian performs magic. The person disappears instantly. The serious king, whose consciousness had been locked on the opponent, was shocked when he saw this scene. The next moment his face changed drastically. Not good. Serious sword. A silver-white long sword, carrying a heavy sword energy, slashed behind him like lightning. The tyrannical sword light was like the sun and moon, and its momentum was overwhelming. However, after this sword energy encountered the 9-color spiritual light, it was like a mud cow drowning in the sea, without making any waves. The aura flashed across him instantly, and the silver-white sword also disappeared. The serious king was really frightened now, and he couldn't help but try his best to escape. The speed of the nascent soul cultivator was extremely fast, almost reaching 100 feet in an instant. The serious king, who was sure to be safe, looked at Su Junming opposite him in disbelief. Hushan Taoism. If the opponent hadn't come up behind him instantly and struck with lightning at the same time, he wouldn't have been nearly injured. Su Junming stood with his hands behind his back, Daihuang Mountain spinning behind his head, and a nine-color divine light surrounding Daihuang Mountain, which was very magical. Ever since he fused the 9-Ju divine light with Daihuang Mountain, the power of this magic weapon has become comparable to the 9 transformations of the nascent soul. With the help of the power of the Daihuang Mountain realm, the 9 ultimate divine light can sweep away everything. The Sirius King didn't know his true intentions and was tempted to test him. But Su Junming is much more ruthless and uses big moves when he comes up. With one move, he planned to take the Sirius King into Daihuang Mountain and put an end to the problem. If it hadn't blocked it with the Sirius sword and caught the opportunity quickly, I'm afraid it wouldn't have been so easy to escape. I didn't expect that the Wolf King would let his natural wind go without cultivating, and instead become a sword cultivator. The Sirius King looked ugly. His own flying sword was taken away by the opponent as soon as he faced it, almost wiping out 30% of his strength. Activate the mana and contact the Sirius sword. But I usually use the natal flying sword with ease, but now there is no reaction at all. Return the Sirius sword to me, and the matter of the Zhou family will be revealed. Su Junming looked calm. The Wolf King treats me like a 3-year-old child. I will destroy the Zhou family and you Dahong Mountain Demon Fox first, and take your Sirius sword later. How can you let me go? Besides, wolves are cunning and extremely vindictive. I'm afraid if I let you go this time, the next time you'll be attacked by countless monsters from Daheng Mountain. Do you really think you can kill me? The Sirius King said coldly. You never know until you try. Motivating Hu Tianshen to perform the technique, Su Junming's figure disappeared instantly. The Sirius King's expression suddenly changed. Having experienced it once, he was already on alert. Sirius Xiao Yu. The 100-foot-long wolf head reappeared, and the surging sound waves were like thunder, sweeping in all directions. At the same time, a round mirror appeared in the hands of the Sirius King. The round mirror shot out a hurricane, driving the Sirius King towards Qiajiakan like lightning. The 9-color divine light swept across the sky, and all the sound waves immediately dissipated. Seeing the Sirius King flying towards Qiajia village, Su Junming knew what he had in mind. How could I not be prepared for such an obvious vulnerability? The Sirius King looked at Qiajia village getting closer and closer, feeling happy in his heart. I see you dare to be so arrogant after throwing yourself into the trap. Seeing Qiajiakan getting closer and closer, the Sirius King suddenly felt a warning sign. Wrong. God-style mirror. The green round mirror shot out a violent wave, driving the Sirius King away like lightning. The Wolf King is coming, why bother leaving in a hurry? Following a cold voice, a huge grain of yellow rice emerged from the sky above Qiajia village. At the same time, within a 50-mile radius of Qiajia village, infinite spiritual light bloomed in the originally empty sky and under the ordinary earth. Grains of yellow rice emerged, and in an instant, the yellow rice the size of rice grains became hundreds of feet in size. It was like 365 huge stars shining in the sky and on the earth. This astonishing difference shocked everyone within 100 miles. Of course, including the Sirius King. How can it be? Every grain of yellow rice is a magic weapon, which completely shocked the Sirius King. Let's go. As soon as he finished his thoughts, he saw Su Junming appearing out of thin air 10 feet away in front of him. Where is the Wolf King going? Do you really want to fight to the death with me? The Sirius King looked ugly. Even he himself had not noticed that there was a hint of sternness in his tone. Su Junming smiled faintly and felt something in his heart. The 9-colored divine light behind his head soared into the sky, and the surging spiritual light was like a river bursting its banks, sweeping down towards the Sirius King. God's wind mirror. A vast hurricane rose across the sky, and wind pillars hundreds of feet thick rotated, tearing the air and flying straight towards the divine light with a thunderous sound. As soon as the two sides touched, the nine-color divine light was like a bottomless pit, swallowing the hurricane in an instant. A powerful hurricane came to the cave of Daihuang Mountain, and the innate Bagua array was activated. After the formation circulated for several days, it was transformed into pure spiritual power, which became a powerful resource for Daihuang Mountain. However, it took some time for the nine-color divine light to brush away the hurricane. Although it only lasted a few seconds, it gave the Sirius King time to escape. Looking at the Sirius King, who has become a black spot in the distance and is running away quickly, Su Junming did not pursue him. With so many methods wasted, how could I let you escape? Stay. After that, he stretched out his hand and shook it. 365 grains of yellow rice shone brightly, connected with each other, and instantly turned into a giant grain of yellow rice that covered 50 kilometers. As the natal magic weapon of Su Junming's Space Dao, Reincarnation Dao, and Soul Dao, the inner space of Huangliangmai is the first world. The tyrannical power of the realm was suppressed directly towards the Sirius King. 365 grains of magic weapon level yellow rice cannot be stopped unless it is a Yuan Shen monk or a spiritual treasure. Sensing the overwhelming power of the giant mountain that was almost irresistible, the heavenly Wolf King nascent souls for transformation cultivation could not help but feel despair. I can't care less. At the critical moment, the Sirius King gritted his teeth and took out his life-saving trump card. This is a talisman that is purple in color and flashes with powerful aura. The Sirius King crushed it into pieces. In an instant, the storm suddenly rose, the aura was mighty, and the infinite sword energy soared into the sky. A huge sword measuring thousands of feet was instantly heard between the heaven and the earth, as if it was a giant knife tearing apart the heaven and the earth. The sword energy surged, and Yimen Huangliang vibrated instantly. Su Junming was shocked when he saw it. This powerful sword energy has reached the soul level. The god of Hu Tian performs magic. One step of 100 feet moves Daihuang Mountain. The nine-color divine light was like a blooming aurora, brushing across the sky. The giant sword measuring several thousand feet was shortened by 1/3 in an instant. But the remaining sword energy is still very powerful. As soon as the two sides touched, the aura and sword energy exploded. Crack. A crack hundreds of feet long created a loophole in Yimen Huangliang. Seeing the opportunity, the Sirius King activated the Divine Wind Mirror and quickly fled out with the sword energy. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a disciple of Taoist priest for us. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 317. The Wolf King stays. Su Junming urged Hu Tianshen to perform his magic, and within a few moments, he blocked the way of the heavenly Wolf King. Go to hell. It was already a life and death fight. The Sirius King activated the Divine Wind Mirror, and a hurricane blew straight forward. The infinite wind blade, which is enough to destroy a hill, is no match against the nine-color divine light. It was brushed away in an instant. Where is the Wolf King? He urged Hu Tianshen to perform his magic and blocked the heavenly Wolf King again. Without saying a word, the Sirius King activated the Divine Wind Mirror again, and the tyrannical wind pillar swept across the world. The Sirius King secretly resented that if he hadn't been unprepared at the beginning, Su Junming would have taken away his magic weapon, the Sirius Sword. He wouldn't be as embarrassed as he is now. Seeing that the gap opened by the giant sword was closing, the Sirius King felt anxious. He doesn't have a second purple electric saber talisman. Su Junming was also very anxious. Although he has the upper hand now, his unsealed cultivation is only at the 4th level of the Golden Core realm, and his magic power is dozens of times lower than that of Yuanying. If it weren't for Yimen Huangliang and Daihuang Mountain, both of which are his natal magic weapons. It consumes less spiritual energy, so I'm afraid he won't be able to sustain it now. Moreover, the sword just struck was obviously at the soul level. Just to block this knife, he consumed most of his mana. Looking at Su Junming, who was standing in front of him again, the serious king looked stern. Burst. The divine wind mirror exploded instantly, and the powerful wind spread nearly 1,000 feet across the sky. The overwhelming hurricane enveloped Su Junming's body. The nine-color divine light swiped twice, and all the wind blades dissipated. Seeing the fleeing serious king, Su Junming was about to urge Hu Tianshen to perform his magic, but he quickly stopped. The magic power in his dantian is not enough. Yimen Huangliang escaped from the crack. The serious king, who was focused on escaping, had no other thoughts at all and flew straight towards the depths of Daheng Mountain. Looking at its back, Su Junming sighed in his heart. If the cultivation level was unsealed, this old wolf would stay today. It's a pity. Take out a few biang pills and drink them. With a move of his hand, the yellow rice from a dream turned into yellow rice again and flew into the dantian. Su Junming landed on the ground and saw that he was safe and sound. The spies who were under surveillance from other surrounding forces were shocked and quickly passed the news back. The Heavenly Wolf King finally breathed a sigh of relief after he fled back to the Heavenly Wolf Hall's lair in Daheng Mountain. He also instantly understood that the reason why Su Junming did not continue to pursue him was probably because of his lack of magic power. But he didn't dare to go back again. He trembled in his heart when he thought of the all-encompassing nine-color divine light, and the yellow rice that, although it was a magic weapon, was comparable to a spiritual treasure. Damn it, where did this person come from? At this time, a woman with gorgeous clothes and picturesque features walked in. Oh, sir, you must avenge my Zhou family. The serious king was newly defeated, lost 2 magic weapons, was almost killed, and was feeling agitated. With a wave of his hand, a strong wind blew the woman backwards. Get out and leave me alone. The woman Gilialu rolled out of the hall, her nose bruised and her face swollen. Fortunately, although she has no cultivation qualifications, she has innate cultivation ability with the support of various resources. Otherwise, if you fall down hundreds of steps, you will be seriously injured even if you don't die. Ma'am, how are you? The serving maid quickly went over and helped her up. The woman stood up and glanced hatefully at the magnificent Sirius Hall opposite. Let's go back. With the help of the maid, the woman walked around the Sirius Hall and came to the back house. He closed the door and took out a light silver talisman from the bag. Hua, take this wolf talisman and go down the mountain. After leaving Tianlang Mountain for 100 miles, crush it quietly. Madam, I'm going right away. The maid took the wolf talisman and walked out quickly. Watching her go away, the woman looked at the towering Sirius Hall in the distance. If you don't avenge me, Zhou Mansion, then let Silver Wolf take action. Shijiang City Hanging Mirror Si Zingtai. It is at the highest point of the pagoda-like attic, which everyone calls the Hanging Mirror platform. A lightsaber flew from a distance like lightning and then disappeared into it. After Lu's Haifei caught it, his expression suddenly changed. Don't dare to delay. Grown-ups. The sobs stopped. Ye Wengxiao, who was dressed in a white robe and had a face like a crown of jade, turned his head. What's the matter? Our people saw the serious king arriving in Qiajia village. The old wolf really couldn't help but take action. What was the result? The serious king was defeated and Su Junming was safe and sound. Oh! Ye Wengxiao had a look of surprise on his face. Is the news true? We in the Xianjing division are not the only ones in Qiajia village who are trying to find out what Su Junming is and what is true. There are many monks who have seen the outcome of this battle. I think the information will not be wrong. Interesting. That old wolf is a sword cultivator from the 4th transformation of the nascent soul. In terms of combat power, a monk from the 7th transformation of the nascent soul can also fight against him. I didn't expect that he would be defeated by a golden core cultivator this time. The news came that Chongshan Master Su Junming's magic weapon was exquisite, especially a yellow rice magic weapon that sealed the sky and the earth, and almost trapped the Sirius King to death. There was also a 9-color divine light that trapped the Sirius King, take away all the divine wind. Ye Wengxiao pondered for a moment and raised his brows. The Tao of Hu Tian. Only the magic weapons trained in the Tao of Hu Tian can have the ability you mentioned. Luz Haifei nodded in agreement. Sir, the incident in Qiajiakan has come to an end, so how should we, the Xianjing division, deal with it? As Ye Wengxiao waved his hand, a jade box fluttered into Luz Haifei's hands. There are 2 linkui fragrant pears inside. You can give them to him for me. Sir, isn't it too precious? Linkui pear is a top-grade spiritual fruit from Datong, and it only matures once every 3 years. Although Chongshan Master Su Junming has a strong personality, he hates evil and hates evil. He is on the same path as our Xianjing division. He may not be able to rely on him in the future. There is no harm in making friends in advance. Ye Wengxiao looked at Zhejiang City, which was shrouded in mist and rain at his feet. And this time he defeated the old wolf and proved his worth. He is worthy of our investment. Yes, sir. Go. I resign from my humble position. Chongshan residence in Daihuang Mountain. Su Junming activated Yimen Huang Liang, and several strands of the innate wind aura left after the divine wind mirror exploded flew away. Sunfen Peak absorbed this spiritual energy, and its breath expanded instantly. The entire Sunfen Peak has also grown nearly 500 feet taller. As you grow taller, your footprint will naturally increase. The size of the Daihuang mountain cave has grown a bit longer. According to the Huangji Jingxi Shu, the Imperial Avenue is divided into 3 supreme paths: the Emperor of Heaven, the Emperor of Earth, and the Emperor of Humanity. The Emperor of Heaven governs the sun, lunar yin, wind, thunder, clouds, and fog. The Emperor of Earth governs Shaiyin, Shaoyang, the earth, mountains, and rivers. The Emperor of Humans governs humans, gods, witches, demons, ghosts, and other living things. In this case, the way of human emperor can also be entrusted to the Daihuang mountain. Why can't it succeed after repeated attempts? After pondering for a while and having no clue, Su Junming shook his head. A silver-white 3-foot-long sword appeared in the palm. Wolf heads are embossed on both sides of the sword's calyx, and the word Sarayan Wolf is clearly visible below. Sirius Sword, a 7-level forbidden flying sword. It is also the natal flying sword of the Sirius King. If he had killed him as soon as he came up, he would have caught the Sirius King off guard and lost the Sirius Sword. I'm afraid he won't be able to keep pressing the opponent to fight later. The Sirius King is not so embarrassed. But no matter what, he had the upper hand in the end. With a flick of his fingers, a grain of yellow rice sank into the sword, and the divine consciousness and mana left in the sword were swallowed up. However, although the mark of the Sirius King is gone, the sword's intention at the beginning of the flying sword is still clear. Every sword cultivator has a different sword intention. The sword intention of Su Junming's demon-slaying sword is to slay demons and restore peace to the world. Yang Zheng's Tai sword was used to kill all the rebellious officials and traitors in the world and maintain his imperial rule. The purpose of the Sirius sword of the Sirius King is to protect the way, kill all enemies and protect one's own path. With the Sirius sword in his hand, Su Junming waved. 2 streams of light flew from the collection room of Chongshan residence and landed on the ground, turning into a 4-foot-long bronze sword and a 2-foot-8-inch, broad-bladed bronze sword. At the same time, a 3-foot 3-inch 8-sided Han sword also flew out from his dantian. As soon as the 4 swords touched each other, the sound of buzzing swords rose into the sky. However, the broad-blade bronze sword retreated at the first touch, obviously not at the same level. This bronze sword is the broken army sword that Su Junming got from Zhao Kuo. It was originally a spiritual treasure, but due to the end of the law of heaven, its grade fell into a top-grade spiritual weapon. Now that the world has changed, it has survived the catastrophe and become a magic weapon with its profound heritage. But compared to the other three flying swords, as a magic sword it has no sword intent. Without sword intent, it is as if there is no soul. With similar grades, it is naturally no match for the other three swords. After all, it's a little bit worse, that's fine. He stretched out his hand and a big umbrella with bright light flew out. At the same time, a tattered war flag also flew from the collection room of Chongshan residence. The former is the formation's natal spiritual weapon Tianluo umbrella that he had practiced earlier. The latter was obtained from Zhao Kuo, his natal spiritual weapon Red Dragon Flag. The Red Dragon Flag is a spiritual weapon of military art. Su Junming does not practice military art, so there is no use for this thing in his hands. He stretched out his hand to grab it, and an umbrella cover flashing with 4 colors of spiritual light flew down from the Tianluo umbrella. With a flick of his sleeves, the umbrella cover made of the 4 elephants demon-slaying array rose straight into the sky. When he released his breath, the 4 elephants demon-slaying array that had been condensed into 12 layers of spiritual taboos instantly caused his own magic weapon disaster. Thunder clouds filled the sky, and 9 tribulation thunders struck down one by one. With Su Junming's understanding of the Tao of combat, especially the 4 elephants demon-slaying formation, he has already reached the level of the Yuan Shen. He didn't let it survive the tribulation before because he didn't think about how to deal with the Tianluo umbrella, which he had excluded from his natal magic weapon. The thunder calamity was so powerful that the 9 calamity thunders were quickly carried by the 4 elephants demon-slaying array. The scattered thunder essence was absorbed by Zhenli Peak. He reached out and made a move, and the formation map turned into a magic weapon flew into Su Junming's hand. As soon as the mana was activated, a powerful swallowing power spread out on the formation. The red dragon flag fell and was swallowed by the formation diagram. The demon-slaying power of the array was twisted, and the remaining restrictions in the flags collapsed, and the spiritual energy was absorbed by the 4-image demon-slaying array. 1, 2, and 3 treasure taboos are derived from the 4-image demon-slaying array diagram. In an instant, the 4 elephants demon-slaying formation became a middle-grade magic weapon of the 4 Taoist forbidden ones. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 318. Chapter 312 4 Elephants Sword Formation. Without the flag banner, only the bare flagpole of the red dragon flag remains. The flagpole is 1 foot or 3 feet tall, as thick as a child's arm, and its entire body is made of metal. Su Junming made a seal with his hands, and a ball of red flames rose out of the air. This is the raging flame that he mobilized to gather the flame aura in Daihuang Mountain. The flames were blazing, and Su Junming threw the demon slayer sword, Tai sword, heavenly wolf sword and Pa Jun sword, as well as the red dragon flagpole into it. The red fire surged and he practiced for 7 consecutive days. At the same time, countless seals flew from Su Junming's hand into the flames. About there. The finger gestures changed and the flames disappeared. The red dragon flag stem disappeared and 4 swords emerged. The first sword is 3 feet and 3 inches long, in the shape of an 8-sided Han sword, with a green dragon swallowing its mouth. The second sword was extremely long overall. The blade alone was 4 feet and 9 inches long. If the hilt was added, it would be close to 6 feet. The white tiger swallowed it. The third sword looks the smallest. The overall length of the sword is 2 feet and 8 inches. The blade is thin and narrow, with 3 points and 2 edges. Suzaku swallows it. The fourth sword had a hilt as thick as an arm and a blade about 1 foot or 2 inches wide, like a door panel. Suanwu swallowed his mouth. The sword is a killing weapon, killing should be the priority. The sword names that he originally thought of as Green Dragon, White Tiger, Black Tortoise, and Suzaku were all overturned by Su Junming. After pondering for a moment, he drew with his right index finger in the air. Under the green dragon's swallowing mouth, iron-painted silver hooks and two eclipsed inscriptions appeared. Kill the immortal. The white tiger swallowed the lower part of its mouth. Kill the demon. Suzaku swallowed the lower part of his mouth. Kill the demon. Suinwyu swallowed his mouth. Cut the sky. After the names of the four swords were decided, a tyrannical sword intention to kill all the demons and evildoers in the world, humans, gods, and ghosts, and punish the heavens, rose into the sky along with the overwhelming tyrannical sword energy. A great killing weapon is born, and a thunder disaster is coming. Each sword has 9 thunderbolts, and 36 calamity thunders pass by. The immortal slaying sword, which is completely black, entwined with the aura of the water element, the demon slaying sword, which is entirely cyan, entwined with the spiritual energy of the wind, the demon slaying sword, which is entirely red, entwined with the aura of Mars, and the heaven slaying sword, which is entirely yellow, entwined with the aura of the earth element, slowly falls. 4 swords are arranged in 4 directions. Su Junming nodded with satisfaction after a moment of realization. Because the immortal slaying sword, the army breaking sword, and the Tai sword had long been magic weapons, after the second ritual practice. When the 4 swords were born, they were the middle grade magic weapons of the 4 treasure bands. With a move of his hand, the 4 elephants' demon slaying formation turned into a sword box. The 4 swords flew into it instantly like swimming fish. From now on, you will call it the 4 elephants sword formation, and it will be my magic weapon of swordsmanship. As if in response to his words, the sound of swords in the sword box suddenly sounded. With a thought in his heart, the sword box flew into Danshan, and he turned around to remove the restraint. Qiao Shaoxin ran in. Master, someone is looking for you outside. He stood up and touched her little head. Nu. Holding her little hand, the master and apprentice left Chongshan residence, walked through the bamboo forest, and came to the bluestone square where Kuei Niu was. With a quick step, the master and apprentice left Daihuang Mountain and arrived at Su Junming's thatched cottage in Qiajia village. Pushing open the door, Su Junming stretched out his hand. The courtyard door opens. A dignified middle-aged man wearing a purple robe stepped in. Both sides looked at each other. The middle-aged man in purple robe bowed in a very respectful manner. Luz Haifei, the 4th-rank inspection envoy of Zhejiang Province, Xianjing Department, has met Mr. Su. Although he also has a golden elixir cultivation level, which is even as high as the 11th level, far surpassing Su Junming who is only at the 6th level of golden elixir now. But even so, he was not confident that he could defeat the serious king. In the world of Daong cultivation where strength is the mainstay, the strong are naturally respected. Xianjing Division. Su Junming's heart moved. Please come in. After thanking him, Luz Haifei followed him into the room and sat down. Su Junming took out the tea set on the table, heated the water using Taoist methods, and made tea. Su Junming was already extremely proficient in a series of processes. Gilu. Pour the tea. Please. Thank you. After picking it up and taking a sip, his eyes lit up slightly. Good tea. Su Junming smiled lightly. Xianjing Division sent Inspector Lu to find me, a mountain villager. I don't know why. Mr. Su, does he know that the commander of Zhejiang Provincial Station of our Xianjing Division, Mr. Ye Wen, is Mr. Xiao Ye? Sheng Xiao Ye asks Xiao's name. I've naturally heard it before. Except for those who are hidden in the mountains and forests, the power of the soul is not known to everyone. In the Zhejiang cultivation world, the Xianjing Division Zhejiang Provincial Stage Commander Xiao Shen Ye Weng Xiao, the Zhejiang Dragon King, and the Changchun Sword Sect Supreme Elder Shang Yangzi are the 3 top masters in Zhejiang Province. At least that's the case on the surface. Although the Lord of Dahang Mountain, Sirius King, is also a nascent soul, he is still a step behind them. Back then, Su Junming killed the yellow-furred fox and learned about the general situation of Shijiang's cultivation world from its memory. My lord, I heard that my husband killed the holy fox, one of the 7 demon generals of Dahang Mountain, and defeated the lord of Dahang Mountain, the Wolf King. He was generous, heroic, and set an example for the right way. Therefore, I have specially ordered to send you 2 pieces of the top-grade spiritual fruit linqui pear from the big cave to express his admiration. With that said, Luz Haifei took out a jade box from the bag and placed it in front of Su Junming. A top-grade spiritual fruit from the big cave. Su Junming felt happy. Now I can refine the 7 yellow pills. Inspector Liu, please thank Mr. Ye for me. We will definitely do it next time. Glancing at the young monk in front of him, Luz Haifei's eyes flashed. When I arrive, my lord specially asked that if Mr. Su is free, please make sure to go to Shijiang City. He will host a banquet in honor of Mr. Su. Please reply to Mr. Ye. If I have time, I will definitely go to the meeting in person. Luz Haifei stood up and held his hands in front of him as a gift. Mr. Su, please make your trip as soon as possible. Su Junming nodded. Goodbye again. Send him out the door and watch him walk away. Master, what is the Xianjing division? Qiao Shaoxin stood nearby and asked curiously. Master will tell you later. Let's go home. Heilongjiang County is a county town under the Hanjiang prefecture of Shijiang province. As night falls, the demons and monsters also begin to move around. Under the cover of night, a dim navy blue stream of light passed through the sky and fell silently into a house that was obviously a wealthy family. The aura faded, revealing a man wearing a navy blue silk shirt and a pink peach blossom on his head. A young man with a slender face and sinister eyes appeared. After listening for a moment, he turned into a stream of light and flew into the attic. It didn't take long before a beautiful girl walked out on her shoulders. There was a hint of pride on her face. She opened her mouth, and a long and scary tongue touched the girl's face. Hey, little beauty, you will be my crotch minister from now on. Peach Blossom Taoist Master Bai Xiu. The cold voice startled Bai Xiu. Who? Come out. Under the night, a purple-faced middle-aged man walked out. Feeling the other party's mysterious and powerful magic power, Bai Xiu felt pain in his heart. Golden Elixir Monk. I don't know, Senior, Bai Xiu is polite in front of you. While Peach Blossom Taoist Bai Xiu bent down to salute, he threw the girl on his shoulders toward the opponent like lightning. At the same time, he transformed into a spiritual light and quickly escaped into the distance. The middle-aged man used his left hand to activate the magic power, and the girl landed safely. At the same time, a large drum wrapped with lightning rose from her body. As soon as the drum sounded, a majestic thunderbolt spanned tens of feet, and with one blow, Bai Xiu, the Taoist at the peak of the innate world, was reduced to ashes. The thunder startled the sleeping people. The purple-faced middle-aged man took one step and spanned 100 feet. He waved his sleeves to collect Bai Xiu's corpse and quickly disappeared into the night. At the same time, Su Junming in Qiajia village suddenly felt that there was one missing layer in the unblocking of Heavenly Way. 8th level of the Golden Elixir realm. Ever since he knew that merit could help him unlock his cultivation level, Su Junming controlled Lu Pan, purple-faced Heavenly Lord Sun Chengzong, White Bone True Monarch, Vivian, Skeleton Monk Qian Xiao, Wen Ruyi and other Golden Elixir puppets to kill people in several surrounding counties. Kill the demons and ghosts who have the aura of injustice. This move was indeed effective. In just 1 month, his cultivation reached 2 levels. But now the range of puppet control cannot exceed 500 miles. Almost all the demons and monsters that can be strangled within 500 miles have been killed. If you want to quickly unblock your cultivation, you have to leave Qiajiakan. Thinking of this, Su Junming stepped out of the house, and with a movement of his body, He instantly rose up to 100 feet, overlooking the village at his feet that had completely fallen asleep. There was thought in his eyes. It was easy to leave Kiajia village, but he was afraid that the demons and ghosts who could not deal with him would take out his anger on the villagers. Having often dealt with demons, he knew very well that these guys had no moral limits at all. The people in Kiajiakan are kind to me, I can't leave them alone. Thinking of this, he stretched out his hand and a grain of yellow rice flew out. The light flashed and turned into a big clock. Boom! A voice like a yellow bell enveloped the surrounding area. Everything within 10 miles around Kiajia village fell into a deep sleep. Su Junming waved his left hand, and several people who did not belong to Kiajiakan flew out instantly. He usually didn't bother to take care of the monks sent by the major forces to monitor him, but it was naturally different now. Without the eyesore, Daihuang Mountain flew out from behind his head. The aura was vast, and the bright yellow aura enveloped the entire Kiajia village. Su Junming changed his finger gestures and drank. Rise. The entire Kiajia village rose from the ground and was swallowed by Daihuang Mountain. Su Junming flew in. Carry Kiajiakan to the outermost edge of Daihuang Mountain. With a finger, Kiajia village, which covers an area of 10 miles, is located on a gentle slope that is 100 miles in size. There are mountains and water here, and the spiritual energy is rich enough for you to thrive. Hundreds of villagers in Kiajia village changed the world in their sleep. After settling them, the bronze mirror in Danshan flashed with light, and Su Junming suddenly realized something. He immediately sat down cross-legged, and after 2 hours, he slowly opened his eyes. He reached out and made a move, and a stream of light flew from far away, fell into his hand and turned into a 3-inch square jade seal inlaid with gold and jade. So that's it? The human emperor, can only be called the human emperor if he rules the human race. I, the emperor of earth, mountain cave, and heaven, have no human race, so naturally I can't trust the human emperor. Look up at the sky. But now, it's okay. Raising his hand and tossing it, the jade seal obtained from the dragon emperor passed through a stream of light straight into the sky. Countless runes flew out of the jade seal and merged into Daihuang Mountain. Visible to the naked eye, the scope of Daihuang Mountain expanded rapidly, and its aura continued to increase, until it stabilized after 2,000 miles. Become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 319. Chapter 313, The Way of the Human Emperor. Feeling the increasingly vast atmosphere of Daihuang Mountain, Su Junming was happy and couldn't help but sigh. It's a pity that I still can't understand the way of the emperor. However, he believed that as his cultivation level continued to advance and the blessing of the bronze mirror on his understanding continued to increase, one day he would be able to understand the way of the emperor. At that time, the three emperors' ways of heaven, earth, and man will merge into one, which will be the emperor's way or the way of dominance. After thinking about it for a while, Su Junming returned to Chongshan residence. Enter the alchemy room. The fire in the alchemy furnace is blazing, and the faint medicinal fragrance is emitted through the pores, which is extremely attractive. With the help of the bronze mirror, he looked at the situation inside the alchemy furnace. The heat is still a bit low. He stretched out his hand and a jade box flew over from beside him. Take it to the backyard. After opening it, 2 red, olive-shaped fruit pits as big as a child's fist were revealed. Su Junming stretched out his hand, and 2 drops of milky white turbid spring water flew up from the lotus pond. The Zhuge spring is a fairy spring of good fortune, which was almost exhausted due to overuse by the Dragon Emperor. But after coming to this world, thanks to the abundant spiritual energy and the mutual promotion of the White Lotus, he began to slowly recover. After the fruit core absorbed the spring water, the spiritual energy of the green wood prevailed, and a bud broke through the core and grew out. The young shoots sprout leaves and then branch quickly. In just a moment, the original red core turned into two small trees 3 feet tall. Holding them, Su Junming flew to Suanweo Peak. I found a valley with waterfalls and springs and planted them there. In another 100 years, these two top-grade lingui pears from the big cave will be able to grow. Going up the hillside, about 100 feet away, is a large peach forest. The middle one is the tallest, about 10 feet tall, with a cloud-like crown and green peaches hanging all over the branches. This is the first spiritual root of Dongxian level that he got. After years of cultivation, it has advanced from low grade to medium grade. Most of the peach trees around are cultivated using their peach stones. Similar situations include Zuguo, white jade immortal apricot, Qinglinguo, etc. The entire Suanweo Peak is an orchard cultivated by him, specializing in planting various spiritual fruits. On the basis of thousands of years of accumulation of Mission Nanzang. There are already 19 types of fruit trees in Suanweo Peak. The best one is called Purple Jade Immortal Apricot, which is the spiritual root of the perfect level of enlightenment. If you survive the catastrophe, you can achieve immortal roots. Originally planted in the Shanking Dongtian of the Nanzang of Mission, due to the declining spiritual energy, most of them withered like the fairy willows of Mission. In exchange for the three-pronged fork, Su Junming broke off one and planted it on Suanweo Peak. Now, under the abundant spiritual energy of the New World, the pavilions have grown like a canopy and become green again. However, it would take another 500 years to see its results. Of course, if the spiritual energy is strong, this process will also be shortened. When I arrived at the top of the peak, I circled around the purple jade apricot that was more than 10 feet high. I looked not far away, climbed along the rock, and stamped my right foot behind the vigorously growing purple jade grape. The aura was powerful, and soon a little guy who was 3 feet tall, purple all over, with Ganoderma lucidum leaves growing on his head, a small medicine basket on his back, and a small hoe in his hand, like a 4 or 5-year-old baby, flew out of the soil. I've met the mountain owner. Zizi, I just planted 2 lingui pear plants in the valley below. Please take good care of them. Yes, Zizi will definitely try her best. Su Junming nodded. With a wave of his left palm, a blue and white porcelain vase the size of a child's palm flew into Zizi's hand. There are 5 3-yellow pills in here. I'll give them to you. Zizi was overjoyed and bent down quickly. Thank you, Lord of the Mountain, for the reward. Go. Zizi nodded, bowed, and disappeared into the ground. Su Junming breathed out. Human beings are the most important among all the creatures in the world, so most of the creatures will turn into human form after surviving the catastrophe. The same goes for elixirs. Purple's Hizi is a purple Ganoderma lucidum that transformed after surviving the catastrophe. Moreover, as an elf formed by elixirs, he is naturally familiar with Aoki Taoism, and he can also understand the growth conditions of spiritual roots and spiritual plants, diagnose and treat injuries, and assist them in their growth. He is almost a natural gardener. However, it is not easy to achieve enlightenment through magical medicine. Except for the 1,000-year-old Polygonum multiflorum that was the first to be obtained, and over the years, only the purple Yuji and the 3-leaf purple ginseng became elves, and most of the others failed. Even so, they took good care of the Qinglong Peak where elixirs were planted, the White Tiger Peak where spiritual plants were planted, and the Suanweo Peak where many spiritual fruits were planted. Overcome Su Junming countless troubles. It was daylight, and those people who had been thrown out of Qiajia village by Su Junming finally recovered from the soul-shaking bell. Recalling the feeling of 7 souls far away and 3 souls wandering, everyone was shocked in their hearts. Of course, there is more fear. If this person wanted to kill them, he could do so with just a snap of his fingers. After a long time, my mood calmed down a little, and I looked forward while covering my head, which still hurt like needles, and was immediately stunned. The former Qiajia village disappeared, and in its place was a huge pit spanning more than 10 miles and 9 feet deep. The water from the Biang River poured back and filled the pit, turning it into a lake. It's the handiwork of Master Chongshan. After coming to their senses, several guys who were thrown out of Qiajia village by Su Junming at the same time, and who could barely be considered as sympathizing with each other, looked at each other, said nothing, and flew away each other. The bell that goes straight into the soul? It seems that Master Chongshan has a lot of tricks. A purple-robed Taoist sitting cross-legged on the futon said. The green-robed Taoist sitting on his left frowned slightly. He is proficient in Huishan Taoism and can defeat the heavenly wolf king with his golden elixir cultivation. He is a genius in cultivation. He shouldn't be unknown. Why have we never heard of this person? This matter is normal. The world is vast, and even Daong dynasty, which stretches 30,000 miles, is just a region in this world. Although our Changchun sword sect is powerful, we only respect Zhejiang province and practice Daong. I know a thing or two about the world, but outside of Daong, how much do I know? Furthermore, Su Junming, a real person from Chongshan, fell from the sky and was seriously injured. He probably fled here. He is not from Daong. We have never heard of it, so it is normal. The speaker was sitting on the right side of the purple-robed Taoist, a young Taoist who was also wearing a green robe, but had a thin appearance, high cheekbones, narrow eyes, and a very majestic expression. Although they say they are young, in fact most monks are very good at keeping their appearance. Even if they are 100 years old, they still look like they are 18 or 19 years old. Just like Su Junming, his real age is now close to Jiezi. But his face looks like a weak crown. After hearing what the young Taoist said, the other two nodded in agreement. No matter where this Master Chongshan comes from, seeing that he hates evil so much that he does not hesitate to offend the Dahangshan monster clan, you know that he is a man of the right path. He is consistent with the morals of our Changchun sword sect, so we might as well make more friends with him in the future Zapao the Taoist way. The other two nodded in agreement. The King Bao Taoist on the left suddenly smiled and said, recently, our Zhejiang cultivation world has been prospering in the righteous way. In 8 or 9 counties including Changshui County and Lianhua County, several golden elixir monks with superb skills suddenly appeared. In just 2 months, more than 100 demons and monsters have died in their hands. Even countless corrupt officials and landlord bullies who had no regard for human life were killed by him. The evil atmosphere in several counties was cleared, and the rest of the counties in Zhejiang province were also much more peaceful. I also know about this matter. However, 8 or 9 golden elixir monks suddenly appeared. I'm afraid this matter is not simple, the purple-robed Taoist said. What the head brother said is reasonable. But judging from their methods, although they are a bit cruel, they are still decent in the end. I can't wait to take action. The Zhejiang monster clan is too busy fighting for the throne to take care of it, and the Dahang mountain lineage is busy looking for that person. The demon fox named Hongyu is now trapped by Chongshan master Su Junming, and I'm afraid he won't be able to make a move. Most of the monks in Fukong Temple will not take action. So it depends on the Xianjing division. Although these Jindan monks fight against demons, they also kill many officials. Even if these officials are corrupt and committed crimes, killing officials is equivalent to rebellion. Xianjing division will not turn a blind eye. The young green-robed monk on the right said. Having said that, Ye Wengxiao hates corrupt officials the most. I'm afraid he may not take action, the green-robed monk on the left said. The other two people showed recognition on their faces. They all know the origin of IP Man Xiao. Before he could achieve enlightenment, his family were destroyed by corrupt officials. He had to live in exile for several years before he could achieve enlightenment. From his enlightenment to now, whenever he encounters corrupt officials, he has always just killed them. Having said that, as the commander of the Zhejiang provincial platform of the Xianjing division, a strange strength with 8 or 9 golden elixirs has appeared in the territory. He also has the responsibility to find out the situation, the green-robed Taoist on the right said. Let's just wait for the people from the Xianjing division to take action. After the purple-robed Taoist finished speaking. Junior brother Feng, is there any news about Hongyu? The young Taoist on the right shook his head. There must be a reason why Daheng Mountain went to great lengths to search for this ruby, but it's a pity that we don't know the key. The purple-robed Taoist shook his head and sighed. As long as we get ahead of Daheng Mountain, Xianjing Division, and Fukong Temple, and capture this demon fox, everything will be clear. The young man on the right said. I'll leave it to junior brother Feng to take charge of this matter. It is obligatory. Then are we still paying attention to Su Junming? The Qingbao Taoist on the left asked. Take the people back. Since Qiajiakan has disappeared, he is probably not there anymore. The most adaptable people are humans. When Qiajia village woke up and saw the great changes in the world, although they were panicked for a while, they quickly calmed down under the leadership of the old patriarch. Because Su Junming also moved the fields that originally belonged to Qiajia village to Daihuang Mountain, they were still without food. Hundreds of Qiajiakan villagers just settled down in Daihuang Mountain. Everything is in order. Su Junming went to teach village children in his spare time. In the meantime, he went back to Chongshan to make alchemy and teach Jiao Shaoxin. He has used formation techniques to cut off the connection between the Bagua peaks and the 12 Yuan-Shan peaks. From now on, the villagers will only live in the 12 Yuan-Shan peaks, and will not be able to enter the Bagua peaks, the 4 Elephants peaks further inside, and the Taishi peak in the middle. Even so, the 12 Yuan-Shan peak, which covers an area of 300 to 400 miles, is enough for them to live. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 320. If the alchemy liquid is still clear, it will be easy to succeed in adversity. Only by understanding yin and yang can you achieve good fortune. Su Junming, who was explaining the Tao of creation, sighed inwardly when he looked at Jiao Shaoxin, whose face was full of enlightenment. As expected, he is a spiritual seed with great merits and a natural fit for the path of creation. He can draw inferences from one example and understand the truth as quickly as I did with the blessing of the bronze mirror. Of course, he felt very lucky to have such a disciple to pass on his Taoism. After a while, Jiao Shaoxin opened his eyes. Are you aware of this? Thank you, Master, I understand. Su Junming nodded, palmed his hands, and a jade slip appeared in his palm. This is the Tiangong Lu compiled by me. It contains 3 chapters on alchemy, weapon refining and alchemy. You can go back and study it. If you are interested, choose one of them to study and practice. Yes. Jiao Shaoxin stretched out his hands and took them respectfully. Taoist practice has always been about cultivating both life and life. Talismans, divination, waiting for gods, alchemy, and sacrificial vessels are all practiced simultaneously. Although you may not necessarily be proficient in them all, you must understand them and there must be no shortcomings. Although Jiao Shaoxin has extraordinary understanding and has made rapid progress in the cultivation of the Tao of creation, he still needs to understand other branches. Go. Disciple resigns. Jiao Shaoxin left the quiet room, went to his room on the 2nd floor of Chongshan residence, and began to study the Tiangong Lu given by the teacher. Ignoring her, Su Junming came to the alchemy room, looked at the orchid and musk-like alchemy energy on the Bagua alchemy furnace, and nodded slightly. This furnace of 7 yellow pills has been practiced for 3 months, and it is finally almost done. Just when he was about to continue making alchemy, a warning sign came to his mind. His face changed slightly. Not good. In a dream, Yellow beams instantly transform into bluestone bridges. Void divine movement. Hundreds of miles passed in the blink of an eye. When the vision became clear, a 200-foot-long fire dragon pressed down overwhelmingly. The nine-colored divine light behind Su Junming's head flashed in the air, and the fire dragon disappeared. A Taochuo, who was wearing a bright red Taoist robe and a fierce look on his face, and was neither a monk nor a Taoist, appeared in mid-air. In the palm of his right hand, he held a red ball wrapped with flames, as big as a fist. From a distance, he could feel the essence of boiling fire on it. Judging from the breath, it should be a first-rate magic weapon. But the grade is not high. Who are you? Taochuo looked at Su Junming in surprise. His red chi pearl is a magic weapon with 2 forbidden treasures. A monk who has just entered nascent soul and has no magic weapon can still compete with it. But the fire dragon that was enough to defeat most golden elixirs just now was easily taken away by the opponent. You go, Su Junming said calmly. Vivian nodded, flapped her wind and thunder wings behind her, and flew away in an instant. Leave me alone. Taochuo roared angrily, and the red chi bead shone brightly. In an instant, hundreds of giant fireballs 10 feet in diameter appeared in the sky. As the Taochuo moves changed, these fireballs were as fast as meteors, hitting Su Junming and Vivian overwhelmingly. Taochuo thought that he could defeat powerful enemies in one fell swoop and avenge his apprentice with this huge meteor shower. A 9-color divine light, like the morning sun rising in the east, filled the world with vast brilliance in an instant. For a moment, it seemed as if there were only 9 colors left in the world. The divine light flashed and then disappeared, and all the fireballs disappeared. Taochuo's eyes were bulging, his mouth was wide open, and his face was full of disbelief. How can it be? Su Junming didn't waste any time. He activated his magic power, and the 9-color divine light came back and shot towards Taochuo. But after swiping it, it was not successful. Looking at Taochuo flying quickly towards the distance. The escape method is so fast, no wonder it can catch up with Vivian's wind and thunder wings. However, no matter how fast the escape method is, it cannot compare to my Jushin technique. With one step, he crossed 100 feet in the next moment and arrived in front of Taochuo. The range of the 9-color divine light was several times stronger than the first time. Senior, spare your life. The divine light flashes and disappears. Although this Taochuo had perfect cultivation of golden elixir and a magic weapon in hand, he could only be suppressed when he arrived in Daihuang Mountain. 2,000 miles of rivers and mountains are pressing down on you, and unless you have a strong soul, you will have to lie down. Come out. Dozens of feet below, an earth-colored light flashed, and a middle-aged man wearing a yellow robe, with a short figure and 2 mustaches on his lips emerged from the ground warily. He glanced at Su Junming and quickly bowed and saluted. Shida, the 5th-rank inspector of Shijiang Province, Xianjing Department, met Mr. Su. Go back and tell your Lord Ye that I am not an enemy. Stop wasting time and following these clones of mine. After saying that, his figure flashed and disappeared instantly. After checking with his spiritual sense 3 times and finding no trace of him, Shidake breathed a sigh of relief. I didn't expect that the famous casual cultivator Fire Dragon Taochuo would fall into such a trap. However, this Master Chongshan is really strong. A strong man like Hualong Taochuo who can compete with Nascent Soul was defeated in just 2 moves by him. Capture is truly worthy of being able to compete with the Sirius King. No, I have to pass the news to the commander as soon as possible. Living in a quiet room in the Chongshan mountain of Daihuang Mountain, Su Junming played with the fist-sized red chi pearl in his hand. Although the 2 treasure forbidden fire magic weapons are good, he doesn't want to be distracted by cultivating treasures other than his own magic weapon now. With a casual throw, the red chi beads rotated, carrying a string of firelight, and sank into the body of Taochuo, who was wearing a red Taoist robe next to him. The fingers in his palm flew, and countless eclipse words flew into the sea of Taochuo consciousness. Open. Taochuo, who had his eyes closed at first, opened them instantly. The mana on his body is increasing step by step, almost the same as when it was at its peak. There is no doubt that this fire dragon Taochuo was turned into a puppet by Su Junming. Go to Dingyang County. Fire dragon Taochuo nodded and flew away from Daihuang Mountain. Since he understood the soul talisman to the purple realm, he can control 17 puppets. Counting the fire dragon Taochuo who had just been practicing, there were exactly 17 people. But all the puppets are Jindan monks, not a nascent soul. This kind of configuration was fine in Uncle Ju's world, but after coming to this world, it was a bit stretched. In the past few months, while controlling puppets, killing demons and monsters, and accumulating merit, he had already encountered 4 situations like Fire Dragon Taochuo where the puppet's clone could not deal with magic weapons. Fortunately, Su Junming used the Void Divine Movement after he advanced to the magic weapon of Meng Huangliang, and he arrived within 3,000 miles in an instant, otherwise at least half of his puppets would have died. It's also time to plan a few nascent soul-level puppets. As he spoke, a spiritual light rippled in front of him, like a mirror, reflecting the figure of the serious king. Is the news confirmed? Shido witnessed with his own eyes the scene when Su Junming rescued Fairy Fenglai and suppressed Fire Dragon Taochuo, and the other party also admitted that Fairy Fenglai was his clone. Luz Haifei said. The Wind and Thunder Fairy is Vivian. Because the Wind and Thunder wings not only fly very fast, but can also use the Wind and Thunder Taoist technique, and are beautiful in appearance, she was given the title of Fenglai Fairy by the Shijian Cultivation Circle. Being able to control 16 clones shows that Su Junming also has a high level of cultivation in the puppet world. IP Man Xiao said. My lord, I'm afraid it's not 16, but 17. Oh. I just received news that Hualong Taochuo killed nearly 3,000 bandits in the Heiyun village outside Dingyang County. The leader of the Black Cloud village, Dragon Slayer Xieching, was the eldest disciple of Hualong Taochuo. If he hadn't been sacrificed, after training to become a puppet clone, he would never do such a thing. Ye Wengxiao nodded, looking excited and curious. I am becoming more and more interested in meeting the Su Junming in person. Sir, the Shijiang chief envoy, the inspection envoy, and the imperial censor have visited the Yamen many times, asking us to kill the monsters in the spiritual world who caused cholera in the officialdom and caused local unrest. If we do nothing, I'm afraid they will. I won't let it go. Don't worry about them. I'm not clean under my butt, but I'm saying that others are wrong. If I weren't in the officialdom, I would kill all these corrupt officials without Su Junming's intervention. Luz Haifei, who knew his master's temperament, wisely did not continue the question. Sir, I have always felt that Su Junming hates evil so much. Is it too much? Glanced at him. If you have anything to say, just say it. Yes. After responding, I am afraid that under the guise of slaying demons and demons, he will secretly do mysterious things. Ye Wengxiao frowned. What evidence was found? That's not true. But in just a few months, thousands of people have died in his hands. Even if these people have the means to die, such a crazy move is too much. Ye Wengxiao nodded, pondered for a moment, and murmured to himself. It seems that I need to meet this person as soon as possible. Master, where are we going? Su Junming touched his little apprentice's head. Master will take you to slay demons. Slay demons? Can I do that too? Qiao Shaoxin's eyes were full of expectation. Certainly. After smiling and nodding. Xiner, do you really want to slay demons? Yes. Master said that if you want to become a true cultivator respected by everyone, you must kill those demons who do evil, accumulate merit, and maintain peace in the world. Xiner is so smart. But not all demons in this world are demons and ghosts. Many times, People with demon hearts are more terrifying than demons. The smile on Jiao Shaoxin's face faltered. She slowly lowered her head and whispered. Is Master talking about someone like my mother? Seeing her like this, Su Junming sighed. Do you hate her? After thinking for a moment, Jiao Shaoxin shook his head. Don't hate. Why? Although she doesn't love me, she at least gave me life and allowed me to live until now. So I don't hate her. However, I don't want to see her again from now on. He touched her head comfortingly. Good boy. If you think so, it's not in vain that Master will take you in and teach you. Remember, don't hate your mother. Just like you said, even if she is not, after all, she gave you life and raised you. You are so big. Yes, Master, I remember. Jiao Shaoxin said solemnly. Su Junming smiled and nodded. He didn't want Jiao Shao to grow up with hatred in his heart, otherwise he would inevitably die if his inner demons attacked him in the future. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 321. Chapter 315 Jiao Shaoxin kills the demon. Let's go. 2 figures, one large and one small, left the area where Qiajia village was located and entered the depths of Loxia mountain. Walking past the place where he once buried Jiao Sanlang after killing the tiger, Jiao Shao felt so happy that he kowtowed a few times and paid homage before the two of them continued to go deeper. After about 3 or 4 hours, the two came to the top of a valley. Looking at the valley below shrouded in clouds and filled with rocks. Master, there is evil spirit down there. Jiao Shaoxin's face was tense, and there was a trace of nervousness in her eyes. There is a middle-stage congenital wild boar demon hidden in this valley. It has murdered many mountain people who went into the mountains to hunt. You go down and kill it. Remember, this is your first battle after becoming enlightened, and Master will not help you. Life or death depends on fate. Su Junming said solemnly. Jiao Shaoxin nodded seriously. Master, I'm going. Go. Jiao Shaoxin patted the gourd on his waist, and a blue talisman flew out of the gourd. With a flash of inspiration, the talisman instantly transformed into a large-sized white feather crane. Jiao Shaoxin waved her hand, and under the influence of magic power, the white-feathered crane quickly expanded like a balloon. In the blink of an eye, it became 1 foot in size. Jiao Shao jumped up with his heart beating, stepped on the feather crane, and flew straight into the valley. Seeing his little apprentice go away, Su Junming thought to himself. In the entire Mission Mountains, I am probably the only disciple who can use the flying crane talisman like this. In the 2 sects in the north and south of Mission, the flying crane talisman was just a tool for communicating. But when it came to Jiao Shaoxin, it was because of her magic power of the Tao of creation that it became different. Flying in the air, Jiao Shaoxin quickly saw the huge creature hiding in the shade of the cliff at the bottom of the valley. The fingers in his hands changed, and an orange-red fireball shot out of his palm. At first, the fireball was only the size of a table tennis ball, but after leaving Jiao Shaoxin's palm, it grew stronger in the wind and turned into a 3-foot-long giant in the blink of an eye. Fireball, go! The huge fireball, carrying scorching flames, hit the bottom of the cliff. Boom! The flames exploded and the flames soared. Ouch! Accompanied by howls of pain, a huge wild boar, 2 feet long and nearly 1 foot tall, with its whole body charred black and blood stains looming on its back, like a heavy tank, rushed out of the flames with flying hooves. Although the fireball exploded just now, the thick leather shell of the wild boar, like a hard armor, blocked most of the power of the fireball technique. Although the wild boar demon looked a little miserable, it was not seriously injured. Jiao Shaoxin's face tightened, and she sat down with Yu He. The latter roared loudly and took her flying away in an instant. The wild boar's eyes were red, its hooves were thundering, and it roared after him. After 2 rounds of pursuit, I saw that my physical strength was declining, but the enemy was in the air and couldn't be reached at all. With 2 snorts and a step of his left front hoof, the ground surged, and a dozen boulders as big as dustpans shot straight towards Jiao Shaoxin in mid-air. The little girl looked serious, and the seals in her palms changed like the wind. Wood shield technique. A wooden wall 3 feet in size, more than half a meter thick, dark brown in color, with a complex rune flashing on the front, appeared in mid-air. Huge boulders hit it, making loud clanging noises, but they could not do anything to the solid wooden wall. Standing on the cliff, watching the young apprentice calmly making full use of the strengths of the Tao of creation to suppress the wild boar, Su Junming felt like an old father, and a sense of pride arose in his heart that I have a daughter who has just grown up. After blocking the boulder, Jiao Shaoxin used the fireball technique again, hitting the wild boar with a bang. The latter was once again enraged and led by her in a circle around the valley. Repeatedly, he looked at the wild boar demon who was panting heavily and whose physical strength was severely reduced. Jiao Shaoxin knew the time had come. Change the fingertips in the hands. Muteng restrained. Where the light of creation shines, nearly 100 rough and extremely tough vines grow crazily from the ground, tying up the wild boar demon. No matter how hard it struggled, it couldn't even move. The magic power of the Tao of creation can increase the power of even the most common spells by several levels. Just like the wooden vine restraint, ordinary monks use 5 or 6 wooden vines to restrain their opponents to death. In Jiao Shaoxin's place, there are dozens of wooden vines. Moreover, these tree vines are tougher and thicker. Wood spear technique. A thick wooden spear as thick as a child's arm and 3 feet long took shape from Jiao Shaoxin's hand, flew down like lightning, and instantly penetrated the wild boar demon's heart, nailing it to the ground. Ouch! After the scream that shook the valley, the wild boar demon slowly stopped moving. Seeing the blood on the ground and smelling the pungent smell of blood, Jiao Shaoxin's face turned pale as she killed a demon for the first time. A trace of panic arose in my heart, and at the same time my throat felt itchy, and I just felt a little nauseous. Well done. Along with the gentle voice, a generous hand covered the top of his head. Feeling the warmth from his palms, Jiao Shaoxin instantly felt warm in his heart, and the nausea and panic disappeared. He turned around and looked at the man with a smile and encouraging eyes. Master, I succeeded. Master saw it, and you did an excellent job. Jiao Shaoxin smiled and rolled his eyes after receiving the compliment. How did you learn Tiangong Bailu? This disciple is stupid and has only learned some basics. You can learn how to practice the essence and blood pill. Then use this method to sacrifice and train this wild boar spirit. Jiao Shaoxin nodded, turned around and looked at the wild boar carcass bleeding all over the ground, feeling sick again in his heart. Although he noticed the change in her, Su Junming didn't say much. He doesn't want his disciples to become flowers in the greenhouse, so they need to adapt to and overcome many things on their own. As if aware of his expectant look, Jiao Shaoxin took a deep breath. Sitting cross-legged on the feather crane, his little fingers were flying, and a spiritual light enveloped the wild boar carcass. It didn't take long before soybean-sized essence and blood pills flew into Jiao Shaoxin's hands. The wild boar carcasses on the ground also became shriveled up. Master, look. 12 blood-red essence pills lay in her white palm. Well done. You can take these essence and blood pills yourself. Jiao Shaoxin nodded and hesitated for a moment. Master, I have been inched. Can these blood essence pills be given to the people in the village? Certainly. Thank you, Master, Jiao Shaoxin said happily. Don't thank me in a hurry. These essence and blood pills have a huge amount of energy and are difficult for ordinary people to bear, so you should use them with caution. Yes. Let's go back. Jiao Shaoxin nodded, and activated the jade talisman around his neck with his magic power, and soon a space passage appeared in front of him. After urging the feather crane to fly in, the passage disappeared and calm returned to the valley. This jade talisman was given to her by Su Junming, the key to unlocking the cave in Daihuang Mountain. As long as the distance from Daihuang Mountain is no more than 500 miles, you can use this key to enter and exit Daihuang Mountain cave heaven freely. After looking at the shriveled wild boar carcass on the ground, Su Junming waved his hand and sank into the ground to bury it, then found a cave nearby and sat down. About a quarter of an hour later, a spiritual light flew over and turned into a middle-aged monk wearing a blue robe and a magic sword on his back. This person's name is Moli. He was originally an 11th level golden core cultivator. He has a low-grade magic weapon called the Flying Fish Sword in his hand. After being killed by Su Junming, he became one of his puppets. Soon, Vivian, with wings on her back, flew over second. After her is Sun Chengzong, the purple-faced Tianluo who masters the Tianli drum. The skeleton monk Qianxiao holding the soul-catching bell. The bone god lord holding a green bamboo staff. More and more puppets flew in. Within an hour, 17 puppets were already gathered here. Take out all the magical weapons, spiritual materials, and spiritual roots you collected. The 13 people nodded and waved their hands, and 13 magic bags flew into Su Junming's palm. Simply swipe. There was a look of disappointment on his face. Except for a piece of 3000 grade refined iron in a large hole, there was nothing that caught his eye. Although there are a few spiritual weapons, they are all of middle or low grade, and are of little use to him now. Sort the elixirs, spiritual plants, and spiritual roots into categories and give them to the 3 elves of Ziziji, Polygonum multiflorum, and purple ginseng to plant. The elixirs are put into the elixir pavilion by category. The magic weapon directly erased the restrictions and threw it into Daihuang Mountain as fertilizer. The spiritual weapon was placed in the treasure room for temporary storage. Only some metal spiritual materials were left, which were placed in front of Su Junming. That's almost enough. He stretched out his hand, and a big umbrella measuring 3 feet and 9 inches flew out from Daihuang Mountain. A flame surrounded the metal spiritual materials on the ground and turned them into liquid. After Su Junming refined them for a few minutes, he activated his big umbrella to absorb and refine them. Feeling the surging breath on the big umbrella, I threw it away. The Tianluo umbrella is like a bolt of lightning, rising straight into the sky. The umbrella cover is opened, and under the 8 ribs, there are countless spiritual talismans, like countless stars in the sky, almost innumerable. Since Su Junming entered Taoism, he has drawn thousands of talismans, but they are almost useless. Most of them are stored in it, and there are probably tens of thousands of them now. Boom! Along with the thunder, black clouds rolled in the sky, and there was lightning and thunder. Tianluo umbrella has accumulated enough information to overcome the tribulation, and is ready to face the 9 thunder tribulations of his advanced magic weapon. Su Junming never did anything he was unsure of, and it was the same this time. The Tianluo umbrella has been with him for many years. Although the 4 elephants demon-slaying array is gone, the innate Bagua array on the 2nd umbrella cover is still as powerful. What's more, there are countless spiritual talismans to support it. The 8 auxiliary ribs and 1 main rib have absorbed countless metal elements, making them extremely hard and adding many magical functions. One after another, the calamity thunder struck down, and the Tianluo umbrella was bathed in the thunder. It's like refined iron that has been refined over time, allowing the thunder to clean away the impurities. By the time the 8th tribulation thunder passed, the aura on the Tianluo umbrella had become more than twice as powerful. Regardless of the Golden Core tribulation, nascent soul tribulation, or the Yuan Shen heavenly tribulation that follows, the last tribulation thunder is the most powerful. This time is no exception. Su Junming saw it in his eyes, and the fingers in his hands changed. Set up the formation. The Tianluo umbrella shines brightly, the umbrella cover turns into a formation, and the 8 auxiliary umbrella ribs turn into iron pillars, which are inserted deep into the ground. At the same time, countless spiritual talismans were sprayed out from the main umbrella ribs, gathered into flags, and hung on the iron pillars. The innate Bagua array was deployed, and with the blessing of countless spiritual talismans, the power of the array instantly exceeded the low-grade magic weapons of the three treasure taboos. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 322. Boom. The thunder rolled, and 100-foot-long thunder struck down from the thick thunder eyes. Thunder and the formation collided. Like sparks hitting the earth, countless sparks exploded. The Bagua diagram above the formation keeps rotating, and with each revolution, the power of the thunder decreases by 1 point. The Bagua diagram rotates faster and faster, and the power of the thunder becomes weaker and weaker. Soon, this huge thunder was ground into pure thunder essence by the Bagua array. Next to him, Sun Changzong threw the thunder drum, and the light of the wind and thunder wings behind Vivian flashed. The two spiritual weapons seemed to have long necks to absorb water, absorbing the scattered thunder essence. With a move of his hand, the innate Bagua array folded up and turned into a Tianluo umbrella again, falling into Su Junming's hands. The magic weapon of the second-level treasure forbidden, it's not bad. With a casual throw, the Tianluo umbrella fell into Sun Chenzong's hands. Follow me. Su Junming's figure skyrocketed, followed by 17 puppets. 18 streams of light followed Loxia Mountain and entered the Dahang Mountains. The mountains here are crisscrossed, undulating, and connected with the sky. Large and small valleys and rivers, strange-shaped cliffs and rocks, colorful flowers and plants, and all kinds of birds, insects, fish, and beasts are all over it. Looking down from a bird's eye view, not only does one feel the majesty of the boundless heaven and earth. After flying over countless rivers, a peak suddenly appeared in the vast jungle ahead, piercing the sky like a sharp arrow. The tall and straight momentum is like an emperor who rules the 4 directions, standing proudly on the top of the mountains. Sirius Peak. Su Junming's flash of light paused. You have set up the innate Bagua array within 100 miles around Tianlang Peak, and not a single one of the demons with the aura of injustice will be left behind. The 17 puppets nodded at the same time, and flew in all directions with a swish. After a cup of tea, Su Junming felt something in his heart. A 3-foot-long sword box slowly flew out of the dantian. Go. The sword box was like lightning, quickly flying hundreds of feet above Tianlang Peak. The sword box unfolded, and 4 swords of different lengths and widths, but containing soaring sword energy, were revealed. The sword box turned into a formation, like a rapidly expanding curtain, trapping Tianlang Peak in the middle. The 4 long swords also turned into hundreds of feet, like giant pillars holding up the sky, nailing the 4 corners of the formation. At the same time, 8 spiritual lights, like the vast Milky Way, soared into the sky from 100 miles away from Tianlang Peak. The spiritual light converged above Tianlang Peak, like a huge 8-color bowl, covering hundreds of miles around Tianlang Peak. Such a mighty spiritual energy fluctuation naturally alarmed the demons in Tianlang Peak. The Sirius King flew out of the main hall and looked at the fierce young man in green robes in the distance. His expression suddenly changed. It's you. It's me. I will no longer pursue the matter in the Zhou mansion, and I will let you take the Sirius sword. Why do you still want to kill them all? The Sirius King said angrily. Su Junming smiled lightly. I once heard a story about wolves. There was a scholar named Mr. Dongguo who was very pedantic. One day he met an injured wolf. The wolf said that if Mr. Dongguo helped it escape from the hunter, he would repay him. Mr. Dongguo believed it and agreed. In the end, when the wolf recovered from his injury, it ate Mr. Dongguo. After a pause. What does the Wolf King think of this story? The Sirius King was not a fool, so he could naturally understand Su Junming's purpose behind telling this story. Do you really think you've got me? The Sirius King looked gloomy. If the Wolf King has other means, feel free to use them. But if you just rely on this formation in front of you and want to stop me, it would be a big mistake. Su Junming pressed his right hand. Killing immortals, slaying demons, and slaying heavens, 4 giant swords emerged from the formation. Following his gesture, the 4-color sword aura of green, black, yellow, and red, mixed with the power of earth, water, wind, and fire, showed a brilliant momentum and slashed towards Tianlang Peak overwhelmingly. Seeing the 1,000-foot giant sword that looked like a huge mountain in mid-air, all the demons in Tianlang Peak changed their colors in horror. Quickly inject the demonic energy into the Heavenly Wolf Palace. The Sirius King's expression changed drastically and he shouted quickly. There were hundreds of monsters on Tianlang Peak, and they did not dare to neglect them, so they quickly directed their demonic energy towards Tianlang Palace. With a buzz sound, the Heavenly Wolf Palace's aura shined brightly. A bell-shaped spiritual light that enveloped the entire Sirius Peak bloomed from the void. Boom! The dazzling light instantly covered the sky. At this moment, all the sounds disappeared, and an ultimate silence echoed in my heart. It felt like a long time passed, but it seemed like it was only a moment. The earth-shattering collision sounded like thunder exploding, deafening. A powerful shock wave, like a river bursting its banks, spread hundreds of feet across the sky, shaking the surrounding mountains far away, sending rocks flying and breaking trees, as if it were an earthquake. Bang bang bang. 20 or 30 demons with lower cultivation levels were shattered to pieces by the powerful force returned from the formation. The Sirius King had no intention of paying attention to the losses of the monsters around him, and stared closely at the young man in green robes with fierce momentum in mid-air. My heart is extremely heavy. Although his formation is also a big hole-level formation, it is far behind the opponent's sword formation. If this formation hadn't connected to the Earth's veins and Tianlang Peak had suppressed it, it would have been shattered by just one sword strike. Seeing the aura of the sword array rising again, the Sirius King understood that he was relying on the Great Wall's mountain protecting array, and he was afraid that it would not be able to stop it. Slay demons and demons, prove the way and protect the Dharma. Su Junming drank in his mouth. The infinite sword intent, accompanied by the tyrannical sword energy, soared into the sky. The vast sword light illuminates the world. How is it possible, you are a sword cultivator? Feeling the surging sword intent integrated with Su Junming's body and the sword formation, the Sirius King said in shock. There are many things you can't think of. 4 elephants sword formation, kill demons. The Qianzhong sword light was more condensed and deeper than before, and at the same time, a powerful sword intention to kill the demons causing chaos in the world to prove its own immortality filled the world. Crack. The spiritual light is like rain, as big as the sky. Visible to the naked eye, the bell-shaped shield protecting Tianlang Peak cracked, and the light of the demon-slaying sword fell from the sky. The towering Tianlang Peak was almost cut in half. Su Junming stretched out his hand and pointed, and in his dream, yellow beams turned into giant bells thousands of feet tall. Boom! The sound of the yellow bell shook the heaven and earth. The powerful soul-suppressing power swept across Tianlang Peak. The Sirius King, who was originally running away, suddenly became sluggish. A 9-color spiritual light swept down the sky, and together with the Sirius King and half of the Sirius Peak, disappeared out of thin air. After the puppets used the innate Bagua array to destroy the remaining demons, they then swept across Daheng Mountain. All demons with a sense of injustice and evil will be eliminated. Standing quietly in the air, feeling the power of merit descending, the Mana cannot help but be released. Soon, he returned to the 12th level of the Golden Core. This was his cultivation when he left Uncle Ju's world. Frowning slightly. Still not enough. Originally, he thought that killing the Heavenly Wolf King would be enough to restore him to the nascent soul realm, but now it seemed that he was still far behind. Forget it, there will be more opportunities in the future. With a move of his hand, the 4 flying swords flew back into the sword box that turned into a formation diagram. Feeling the powerful sword energy in it, Su Junming nodded with satisfaction. The 4 elephants sword formation was a first try, and its powerful power was worthy of the many resources he invested in training. Gone. As soon as he took a step forward, the escaping light unfolded and turned into a rainbow that spanned the sky and quickly disappeared into the distance. Su Junming destroyed Daheng Mountain. Although there was a formation to block him, the ones he strangled were all demons with a sense of injustice. He did not kill the kind demons who had never harmed anyone. But these demons were so frightened that they fled from Daheng Mountain. At the same time, the news that the Daheng Mountain monster clan was wiped out and Tianlang Peak collapsed spread throughout the Shijian cultivation world from their mouths. What? The Sirius King is dead. Ye Wengxiao said in shock. Half of Tianlang Peak is gone. Except for a few of the Daheng Mountain demon clan who were chasing the demon fox Hongyu and escaped, most of the rest died. Luz Haifei nodded and said. Is it Su Junming's handwriting? I learned from the mouths of the remaining monsters in Daheng Mountain that he was wearing a green robe, and with a powerful sword formation, he cut through the Tianlang Peak mountain guarding formation with 2 swords. In addition, part of the sword energy remains in the Heavenly Wolf Broken Peak. It can be seen that the person who destroyed Daheng Mountain and killed the Heavenly Wolf King was a swordsman, but it is not certain whether it was Su Junming. Ye Wengxiao was silent for a moment. Hushan Dao, Puppet Dao, and Sword Dao? You are proficient in all 3 and can practice to such a high level at the same time. Is there really such a genius in the world of cultivation? Sir, he may not be the one who destroyed Tianlang Peak. After saying this, Luz Haifei felt a little lacking in confidence. Both of them knew that the only person the Heavenly Wolf King had offended recently was Su Junming, a real man from Chongshan who loved to wear green robes. Besides him, who else would look for bad luck to the Sirius King at this time? Where is he now? Ye Wengxiao asked. After destroying Daheng Mountain, it disappeared. Where are his clones? Never showed up again. Keep an eye on him. If he appears again, notify me as soon as possible. Yes. Ye Wengxiao pondered for a moment. I remember that the Sirius King had a son. Yes. He was born to a daughter from the Zhou family. He is known as the Silver Wolf Prince in the Daheng Mountain Monster Clan. He was born with the Heavenly Wolf bloodline and has superior qualifications. He became a disciple of Master Daju Mountain Divine Eagle 10 years ago. Studying the Dharma, I heard that he has entered the country very quickly and is highly valued by Master Condor. Ye Wengxiao nodded slightly. Master Shenying has the 12 transformations of the nascent soul, a strong man who only needs to survive the catastrophe to realize the nascent soul. What your lord said is true. The storm that started in Qiajia village is only halfway through. Although Su Junming killed the Sirius King, if Master Shenying comes forward, he may not be able to escape. The nascent soul undergoes 12 transformations, 1 for each heaven. The gap in between may be even greater than the Golden Core Realm and nascent soul first transformation. It has been nearly 5 months since the Zhou family was destroyed. Prince Yinlang should have received the news and returned. Why is there still no news yet? Ye Wenxiao nodded and said. Daju Mountain is far away in Tianese, and it is separated from our Shijiang River by Shanyang Province. I don't know how humble it is. However, Prince Yinlang goes home every 3 years to visit his family. It has been a year since he came back last time. Years. Therefore, the war will break out in no more than 2 years, Luz Haifei said. 2 years, 2 years later, Su Junming may still be in Shijiang. Luz Haifei glanced at him and said nothing more. The atmosphere in the room fell silent. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a disciple of Taoist priest for us. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 323. Chapter 317 7 Yellow Pills. The sky and the earth are dark and yellow, the universe is vast, the sun and the moon are waxing and waning, and the stars and constellations are arrayed. The sound of Lang Lang's reading came from the room. What was once a thatched house has turned into a bright blue brick house. The simple desks have also become brand new. A middle-aged man with a high diploma and a serious expression was sitting on the podium. Dozens of children under the stage were reciting the 1,000-character essay loudly. Outside the window, Su Junming stood with his hands behind his back. An old man holding a wooden stick next to him looked at the situation inside with a happy face. "Old patriarch, what do you think?" "Prudent, dignified, and knowledgeable, Mr. Sun is indeed a good gentleman. As long as you are satisfied. From now on, when I am away, he will be responsible for teaching the children in Kiajiakan." The old patriarch nodded, and soon a look of confusion appeared on his face. "Junming, after the great changes in the world, there is no one living for hundreds of miles outside Kiajia village. How did this Mr. Sun come here?" Su Junming had already compiled an answer to this. "It's a coincidence that this person is an old friend of mine. He happened to stay at my house that night when the world changed. Now that the world has changed, he is also stranded here. At my request, he will stay as the teacher of our Kiajiakan school." "I see." The old patriarch sighed. "This man is also pitiful and has lost contact with his family since then." Su Junming didn't say much. This so-called new teacher is actually Sun Chengzong, a purple-faced man. He, who is at the second level of the Golden Core, is now less and less helpful to Su Junming. "I wanted to destroy him and make way for a puppet, but after thinking about it, I decided to stay. Let him be a teacher in Kiajiakan, so that he can take time off to do other things." Say goodbye to the old patriarch and return to Chongshan residence. In the training room, Lu Pan sat in the middle. 15 puppets surrounded him. Crimson blood rushed up from these puppets and submerged into Lu Pan's body. The aura on the puppets became weaker and weaker, while the aura on Lu Pan became stronger and stronger. Suddenly, the 15 puppets suddenly collapsed, turned into blood-colored turbidity, and swarmed into Lu Pan's body. The hot masculine blood exploded instantly, and the entire quiet room felt like it had fallen into a furnace. "Wow," the sound of the surging river came from Lu Pan's body. There was a sound of thunder, clouds rolled over Daihuang Mountain, and bursts of thunder could be heard. Lu Pan suddenly opened his eyes, and 2 red lights spread across the sky, like lightning. Shua, the figure disappeared. Lu Pan, whose upper body was naked and covered with muscle tattoos, rushed straight towards the calamity thunder. The dazzling thunder, like a rolling angry dragon, fell straight down towards him. Lu Pan braved the thunder and rushed into the thunder cloud. "No matter how thunder strikes me, I will remain standing." Su Junming stood out of thin air, looking at the thunderous figure surrounding him, like a thunder god, and nodded with satisfaction. When Lu Pan came to this world with him, he was already at the 9th level of the earthly evil realm. Now he has swallowed nearly 100 demon beasts in Daheng Mountain, plus 15 golden elixir monks, 4 of whom are still golden elixir perfect. I have already accumulated enough information to overcome the tribulation. Rumble. As thunder struck down one after another, Lu Pan's body was like refined steel, with impurities removed little by the thunder, becoming stronger and stronger. "The last one." Su Junming murmured to himself. At this time, the sky was quiet. Surrounding Lu Pan, thunder rolled and tangled within 100 feet, as if hundreds of thunder dragons were surrounding him. Last minute. Lei, who had accumulated enough energy, rushed forward instantly. Crack. Huge thunder resounded throughout Daihuang Mountain. The powerful thunder light illuminated the world. Suddenly, a red light, like a flame, broke through the thunder cloud. The tyrannical energy and blood filled the world. The tall demon-like figure shook away the thunder eyes and slowly fell from the sky. Su Junming nodded with satisfaction. As soon as I broke through the Tiangang realm, I opened 5 Tiangang acupoints and advanced to the 3rd level. I am much stronger than I was before. A casual wave. A 2-foot-long spear and a set of bronze armor with a dragon coiled on the chest were automatically put on Gu Pan. He was already extremely evil, but now he was even more powerful and terrifying. In particular, the Panlong spear and Qinglong armor have been trained into magic weapons by Su Junming, adding to Gu Pan's strength. After hesitating for a moment, he turned his left palm and a cyan porcelain bottle appeared. With a flick of his hand, the porcelain bottle fell into Lu Pan's hands. The latter took it and flew into the backyard of Chongshan residence. The porcelain bottle contained a drop of the blood of Lord Huosang. Now that his cultivation level has been banned, he cannot practice. In this case, it is better to use it for Lu Pan. After making arrangements for Lu Pan, Su Junming walked into the alchemy room. Vivian, dressed in a blue robe, was sitting on the futon. The aura on his body was fluctuating, and he was obviously breaking through. Su Junming glanced at it twice and paid no attention to it. Now there are 4 puppets left in his hand. Apart from Lu Pan and the recently trained Heavenly Wolf King, the only ones left are Vivian and purple-faced Tianluo Sun Changzong. In fact, Sun Changzong had already given up. Just wait for the next generation of Qiajiakan to grow up and someone will succeed him as a private school teacher. The puppet body of Sun Changzong has reached the end of his life. But Vivian is different. Even immortals with extremely high cultivation levels still have lustful disciples. Vivian is both beautiful and exotic. Under special circumstances, the role she plays must go beyond her cultivation itself. This was verified in Uncle Ju's world. Therefore, Su Junming kept her and did not hesitate to use Biang pill and the 3 yellow pills he refined to improve her cultivation. Although he didn't expect her to defeat powerful enemies for him in the front, her cultivation should not be too weak. Sit down on another futon next to the alchemy furnace. Looking at the gradually thickening medicinal gas above the alchemy furnace. This furnace of 7 yellow pills is almost ready. Su Junming waited for an hour, and the dense medicinal energy slowly condensed into the shape of Ganoderma lucidum. Just as he was about to turn on the stove, he quickly stopped again. A sudden realization came over me. No, it's not time yet. Sure enough, Su Junming waited attentively for a moment, and the Ganoderma-like medicinal gas on the top of the stove slowly turned into 7 colors: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple. That's it. He breathed a sigh of relief, changed the spirit formula in his hand, and under the influence of mana, the dragon's mouth that produced the pill opened. 36 pills flew out. Actuated by Su Junming's magic power, the pills automatically flew into a yellow-skinned gourd. The gourd dropped into the palm of his hand. Su Junming activated his consciousness for a moment, frowning slightly. There are actually 19 waste elixirs, and the success rate is less than half. Although it was also his first time to refine Qiwang Dan, he was already several times better than other alchemists, with a rate of 10 to 20% at most. But it's not like they have bronze mirrors to assist them. After thinking for a moment, he put down the medicine gourd. The experience of refining alchemy can only be slowly explored. Just like just now, he suddenly realized that when refining the Qiwang Dan, he had to wait until the medicinal energy condensed into 7 colors and then open the furnace, which would have a higher success rate. But apart from experience, the improvement of hardware can also increase the rate of pill success. It's time to upgrade this alchemy furnace. This alchemy furnace was obtained from Chen Lindong Mansion when he was in Uncle Ju's world. At that time, I felt that the top quality alchemy furnace was already a rare treasure. But when he advanced to nascent soul and started refining large whole level elixirs like Qiwang Dan, this alchemy furnace was no longer enough. The most obvious shortcoming is the furnace temperature. The temperature is not enough, and it takes time to refine a lot of spiritual materials. Moreover, without sufficient temperature, the medicinal materials cannot be completely combined, which will also affect the final elixir formation rate. Turning her head, Vivian had woken up. The 10th level of golden elixir is good. With a pat of the yellow-skinned gourd, 2 7 yellow pills that had just been practiced flew into her hand. With the help of these 2 elixirs, it is enough for you to practice the golden elixir to perfection. Vivian nodded and reached out to take the 2 7 yellow pills. After putting the yellow-skinned gourd into the space inside the Taoist robe, he stepped out of the alchemy room. On the first floor of Chongshan residence, in addition to the alchemy room, library, practice room, study room, and living room, the most important thing is the treasure room. Because of his extremely high space cultivation, the entire treasure room also contains inner space. Although it looks like a 20 to 30 square meter room from the outside, there is something special inside. 50 or 60 lotus flowers are floating in a space of tens of thousands of square meters. Most lotuses are blue, and there are 7 red lotuses. However, the most special thing is that there are 2 colorless lotuses here. The blue lotus contains spiritual weapons and cave-level spiritual materials, including the wind and thunder wings and soul-catching bells that Su Junming practiced, as well as the trophies he got from killing evil cultivators, such as the 7 treasures flower basket and the peachwood staff. Naturally, the red lotus contains magic weapons and spiritual materials at the level of the Great Cave. Among them are 4 magic weapons, the red chi pearl, the Xiaoyang sword, the purple ribbon spirit flag and Widding Feitua. They are all low-grade magic weapons with no more than 3 forbidden treasures. He got it by killing loose cultivators in the past few months, and the former fire dragon Tuchuo contributed the red chi pearl. Compared to the magic weapon, the remaining spiritual materials are of a much higher grade. The middle grade Xiaoyang stone from the Big Cave is an excellent spiritual material for refining fire attribute magic weapons. The middle grade Tianxing sand in the Big Cave contains spiritual materials with earth attributes and star aura, and is most suitable for refining various divine sand magic weapons. The cave's 6,000 top-quality refined iron, although not large, is enough to refine a top-quality magic weapon. The 3 spiritual materials were all trophies he obtained after annihilating the demon clan in Daheng Mountain. In addition to these materials, Daheng Mountain also had several spiritual roots, which he transplanted to Suanwu Peak. 2 colorless lotuses. In a lotus flower lies a seed as big as a basketball with pitted holes. This kind of seed was given by Chen Lin as an apprenticeship ceremony when he was in Uncle Ju's world. Even now Su Junming still can't figure out what it is. However, like the phoenix egg of Suzaku Peak, it can absorb spiritual energy from the underworld and strengthen itself. But compared to eating part of the phoenix egg, a part is left to strengthen the Earth Emperor Mountain Cave Heaven. This black guy eats it up and wipes it clean without leaving any trace behind. Moreover, the black species is absorbing more and more spiritual energy. At the beginning, it was only 2 or 3 times that of phoenix eggs, but now it is more than 10 times that of phoenix eggs. This gap has a tendency to gradually widen. After staring at the black man for a moment, still unable to see clearly, Su Junming looked at the last colorless lotus. Inside lay a corpse wearing a black dragon robe. It was the Dragon Emperor who was killed by him when he was in Uncle Ju's world. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 324. The reason why Su Junming kept him was because he discovered that the Dragon Emperor was actually a body of 5 virtues that only one among hundreds of millions could have. The so-called 5-virtue body is a person who has a balance of the 5 elements of metal, wood, water, fire, and earth, and is born with the innate chi of the 5 elements in his body. It is as precious and rare as Renwuji's innate yin and yang body. Moreover, what makes Dragon Emperor stronger than Renwuji is that the level of the innate 5 elements chi in his body is higher than that of Renwuji. There are 5 levels of innate weather. Taishu, Taiji, Tai, Taishi, Taisu. Commonly known as the 5 congenital ties. The monks advance to the innate level, and the magical weapons advance to the spiritual weapons. What is condensed in the body is the innate Tai Chi. Legend has it that only after becoming an immortal will the innate chi of Taishi be born in the body. Renwuji's innate yin and yang body is because he was born with an innate yin and yang energy at the Taishi level in his body. Therefore, the body of innate yin and yang, or the body of the 5 innate virtues, is called immortal talent in the world of spiritual practice. This means that people with these physiques are born with the qualifications to become immortals. The reason why Su Junming kept the Dragon Emperor's body was that he even used the Zhuge spring to keep him alive. It's because the level of innate 5 elements Qi in the Dragon Emperor's body is stronger than that of Renwuji. It is Tai Chi level innate energy. Therefore, he can easily control the 5 elements, and he has even awakened his innate magical powers that are stronger than Renwuji. If it weren't for the end of heaven's law, Su Junming wouldn't be able to kill him at all. It is precisely because the body of the Dragon Emperor is so precious that Su Junming kept it and prepared it as the incarnation of his Fuyuso. Through his spiritual consciousness, he looked inside at the gourd vine in his danchan that represented the magical power of the 7 souls incarnation. The second orange Fuyusol gourd was still not fully mature. I don't know when this gourd will be ripe and ripe. The maturity of the gourd not only requires extremely high spiritual cultivation, but also requires his magic power and soul to reach a certain level. Now his soul talisman has turned purple. Although it is only the first time, Su Junming feels that it is enough. The only thing missing is his magic power and soul. But now that his cultivation is sealed by the power of heaven in this world, even if he wants to practice, it will be useless. After checking it out, put it aside for now. He reached out and waved a blue lotus. On the lotus pedestal lies a large hall that has been cut into 2 halves. You can vaguely see the inscription Sarayan Wolf Palace written above the lintel. This heavenly wolf palace is extremely huge. As the center of the heavenly Wolf Peak Mountain Protection Formation, it is a top-quality spiritual weapon made entirely of 1,000 refined copper. King Tianlang occupied Dahang Mountain and plundered the entire mountain for copper mines before building such a grand hall. Fortunately, this world has dense aura and various mineral deposits are much richer than those in Jushu's world. Otherwise, even if we search the entire Zhejiang province, we won't be able to collect so many thousand refined coppers. However, if you want to cultivate an alchemy furnace, in addition to 1,000 refined copper, you also need 36 precious spiritual materials such as 1,000 refined white iron and yin-yang stones. Moreover, what he wants to practice is not just the alchemy furnace, but the Tiangong divine furnace that can refine weapons and sacrifice formations. More spiritual materials are needed, and even after plundering the Dahang Mountain Demon Clan, the materials are still far behind. He casually took down the broken plaque of Tianlang Temple. Flames appeared in his palm, and in the blink of an eye, the plaque melted into a ball of liquid copper. With a casual move, the alchemy furnace in the alchemy room flew through the air. After absorbing the copper liquid, its aura became stronger. Breaking through the restrictions in the storage room, he came to the sky above Daihuang Mountain. He threw the alchemy furnace straight up into the blue sky, released his breath, and thunderous calamity rolled in. The triple weapon was knocked down. After being tempered by the calamity, the alchemy furnace absorbed a trace of the spiritual energy of creation and finally advanced to a spiritual weapon. Looking at the falling pill furnace. I'll practice with the spiritual bronze sacrifice later, it'll be enough for the time being. Throwing it with his left hand, the alchemy furnace flew down, fell into the alchemy room, and disappeared. Call out. Accompanied by the loud call of the phoenix, a big blue bird flew from a distance, followed closely by a white feathered crane. The 2 birds flew up and down, chasing each other, and soon reached the sky above Kongshanju. Master! Accompanied by a clear shout, white feather cranes flew over with lightning. On the back of the broad crane sat a little girl wearing a blue floral dress and a braided hair. Although she had tattoos on her face, it did not detract from her charm. The bluebird also followed and hovered behind the little girl. After Su Junming nodded with a smile, he waved his left hand and a stream of yellow light flew in front of the little girl. "Xiner, try on these shoes." Xiao Shaoxin took the light yellow embroidered shoes and put them on her feet carefully. After walking a few steps on the crane's back, a surprised smile appeared on his face. "Master, I'm not lame anymore." The reason why Xiao Shaoxin is lame is that her left foot is naturally 1 centimeter shorter than her right foot. This kind of natural disability can only be compensated for when one becomes an immortal. Becoming an immortal is the transformation of acquired nature back to the innate. The strong innate aura will wash away the last trace of acquired aura in the body, transforming the mortal into an immortal. Not to mention a rebirth. Only at this time can we make up for the innate regrets. You can wear these shoes from now on. "Well, thank you, Master." Patted her little head. "Have you felt bored in Daihuang Mountain these days?" Let's go, Master will take you out for a walk." After nodding his head repeatedly, Xiao Shaoxin's eyes were full of expectation. "Master, where are we going?" "Shijiang City." Su Junming had an inexplicable look on his face. The official road was bustling with cars and horses. Among the pedestrians going north and south, a tall man in green robe was particularly conspicuous. He is holding a bamboo pole in his right hand, and on the top of the bamboo pole is a long flag with a green ground and a white background, which reads, "Medicine cannot cure diseases, but can only help those who are destined." Next to the man in green robe, there is a little girl with braided hair and a tattoo at the corner of her left face. It was Su Junming and his young apprentice Xiao Shaoxin who left the cave in Daihuang Mountain. "Master, it smells so good." Su Junming turned around and saw a roadside restaurant not far away. The rich aroma of meat comes from inside. "Want to eat?" Xiao Shaoxin nodded quickly. Although she has gone off grain, she has never eaten anything good since she was a child, so she can't help but be greedy when she encounters beef, mutton, or other delicacies. With a smile on his face, he patted her little head. "Let's go, Master will take you there." The two walked forward 100 meters, and 3 huts appeared on the side of the road. The hut was surrounded by a sparse fence, and in the middle was a door made of poplar boards. The workmanship was extremely crude. Not only were there cracks everywhere, but the wooden thorns on the boards were exposed. If you accidentally touched it, you would be punctured. A dirty and broken flag was picked out above the wooden door and read Zhang's old store. Entering through the open courtyard door, there is a table of more than 10 feet in the courtyard in the middle of the hut, where merchants coming from north to south sit to drink and eat. The sounds of bragging and spanking are endless. A large iron pot was set up outside the hut on the left, and large pieces of mutton were tumbling inside. With the water splashing, the rich meat aroma made the mouth water. Next to the iron pot, there is a stove made of loess. A short, fat boy is filling the firewood. The village woman with a thick waist next to her rolls up her sleeves and puts the golden bread baked in the earthen stove into a basket next to it. "Guests, please come inside." A middle-aged man wearing navy blue coarse cloth walked over quickly. "Is there a quiet seat?" "There's another one to the east." Following the direction of his finger, Su Junming saw an 8 immortals table in the corner. "That's it? Walk over with Xiao Shaoxin." "Boss, how much does your mutton soup cost per bowl?" "2 big boys, we can add broth for free." 1 tael of silver from Daong dynasty was worth 12 eldest sons. A bowl of mutton soup for 2 adults is quite expensive. However, this era is not the 21st century with great material abundance before Su Junming was reborn. Meat has never been cheap. "How much does it cost if you add meat?" 2 taels of mutton for a big man. 4 haggis, 3 taels of meat for a big man. Where's the pancake? 1 big boy and 4 pancakes. Here are 2 bowls of mutton soup, add a pound of mutton each, and 8 noodles. The middle-aged man looked at the 2 people in surprise. Guest, do you want too much? Su Junming is just that, he is tall and strong, and he looks like he can eat. But the little girl next to her, although she didn't look delicate, couldn't eat a pound of meat. Don't worry, we will definitely be able to eat it. He clapped his hands and put 2 taels of silver on the table. When he saw the money, the middle-aged man's eyes lit up and he said no more. Put away the money. Please wait a moment, the broth will be brought to you soon. His movements were indeed not slow, and within 5 minutes, 2 large bowls of hot mutton soup were served. In a large porcelain bowl with a diameter of nearly 1 foot, the fat and lean mutton is served with chopped green onion and coriander, which has a particularly rich aroma. It's a pity that the pepper is missing. But that's normal. Spices were worth their weight in gold in ancient times. How could there be an ordinary roadside restaurant? Of course, Su Junming's Daihuang mountain does have spiritual roots that are nurtured by spiritual energy. But that is used as an auxiliary medicine for refining elixirs, not for consumption. So I didn't prepare in advance. In addition to the mutton, the middle-aged man also brought a plate of pickles. Add soy sauce to water radish, add a few drops of sesame oil, and let it sit for 7 days. The pickles soaked in this way are crispy and delicious, especially delicious. Seeing Qiao Shaoxin's eyes sparkling and the saliva almost falling from the corner of her lips, Su Junming smiled. Look at how greedy you are, eat quickly. Master will eat too. Su Junming nodded. Although he had long since abstained from food, he didn't mind overindulging his appetite occasionally. The longer you practice, the stronger the immortal flavor becomes and the less human flavor you get. Sometimes, you also need to return to nature and experience the life of ordinary people. Su Junming ate very slowly. He enjoyed the taste rather than being full. In fact, with his current belly size, not to mention a bowl of mutton soup, even a pot would be just the bottom of the pot. Just as he was chewing slowly, there was a sudden noise next to him. An old man who had just entered and sat down suddenly fell unconscious and fell to the ground. Everyone rushed forward to pinch him, but they couldn't wake up. Seeing that his breath was getting weaker and weaker, and everyone was anxious, Su Junming walked over. Get out of the way, he's suffering from heat stroke. There are so many people around him, he's suffocated even if he's not overheated. Who are you? He was so rude that some of the onlookers had a bad temper and started questioning him in public. I am a traveling doctor. Hearing what he said, the crowd of onlookers moved aside. Doctors are still very respected among ordinary people. Su Junming stepped forward, opened the old man's eyelids and took a look. Alchemy and medicine are mutually exclusive. Su Junming is proficient in alchemy, and his medical skills are naturally also very good. Because this old man is old and weak, just pinching someone's middle may not be useful after a heat stroke. His right hand reached into his left sleeve, and under cover, he took out a pack of silver needles from the space in his robe. He made this needle himself. When he was traveling around with Lin Zhenying in Uncle Ju's world, he occasionally practiced medicine to save people.